Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. Thanks for making us a part of your starts, whether you're listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. You got your Alexa devices. Just say, yo, Alexa, play WAYY. I got the YouTube video stream also up and rolling here this morning, so you can join in on the YouTube chat over there as well. Multiple different ways for you to be tuning in as we wrap up another work week here. So what do we have on our game plan for us this morning? Going to be catching up on a lot of things. First off, sad news yesterday. Bob Harlan, former Packers president and CEO, passing away at the age of 89. And in my opinion, Bob Harlan is, when you talk about the 90s and the resurgence and the resurrection, if you will, of the Packers franchise, it starts with Bob Harlan. I know a lot of people, when they think about that era, you know, the first names or the first people they think about is Ron Wolf, Mike Holmgren, Brett Favre, Reggie White. But it all began with Bob Harlan. And it started there with him, more ways than one. Packers may not be the Packers as we see them right now in terms of legacy and maybe even where they're still playing if it isn't for Bob Harlan. So I want to talk a little bit about his legacy and such. And again, I think if you are a Packers fan and you are a diehard Packers fan, you owe a lot right now to Bob Harlan. I think it's one of those where he still kind of gets overlooked or maybe underrated. I firmly believe he should have been already, but should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame to kind of honor the job and what he did for the Packers franchise, and kind of, you know, relates to the overall league in itself too. So want to chat a little bit about that. Packers also starting to make some moves yesterday in terms of getting under the salary cap. It was first reported by Jeremy Fowler that the Packers converting Xavier McKinney's contract just to open up some more cap space. So the first domino to fall, and there's going to be more, whether it's, you know, well, it's got to be by next week. So within the next few days here, we'll see some more maybe restructures, converting some salaries into roster bonuses and such. So expect that to be happening here in the next couple of days. And also, too, a couple of days ago, Packers bringing back Chris Brooks, their third down back, if you will, on a 2-year deal. So right now, Packers running back room, Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, and Chris Brooks. Packers really, really like Chris Brooks. And he's a really, really good blocker. Like, he kind of go back to those 90s or early 2000s style of football and the third down backs. Remember like a Tony Fisher from Green Bay back in the day? Chris Brooks is kind of like that. Excels in pass protection, but I think he's a sneaky good runner too, and a very good pass catching running back. So, but yeah, expect more moves to be had for Green Bay in the next next few days here and such. And if you are a preseason fan, already got one game that's reported out there too. Week 3, the season finale. It's going to be in Green Bay, and it's going to be the Cardinals. So it's going to be a brothers affair. Packers going to be holding some joint practices with the Cardinals and such, which, again, probably no big surprise considering it's Matt LaFleur and Mike LaFleur's team. So, but plenty of Packers talk coming your way here this morning. We'll throw in some hoops talk as we wrap up the men's college basketball season D1. We've got the Badgers taking on Purdue tomorrow. Marquette's going to be taking on UConn. We'll have conference tournaments. Some of them are going on right now. More will be going on next week, obviously. Selection Sunday, a week from this Sunday. So we'll talk some college hoops. The Bucks are going to be back in action tomorrow. But, man, time's running out. That loss the other night to the Atlanta Hawks, what a dagger. I don't know if it's the complete dagger, but what a dagger. It's just I can't see a path now to get to the playoffs here for this Bucks team. It's incredibly frustrating to watch and such. So, but we'll throw in some hoops, and I know we had some girls high school basketball in action last night, and we're going to find out who's going to make state. So we'll do some local sports roundup with Brandon Berg as he'll break it all down, because we've got boys playoffs going on too, and state hockey and such. But kind of a quick rundown. Rice Lake and girls basketball, they're moving on. They picked up a win last night, so they are one win away from advancing to state. St. Croix Central defeated Baldwin Woodville, so they're going to be moving on in Division 3. We've got in Division 4, Cameron defeating Colfax, and Neelsville defeating Regis last night. Neelsville began the game on, was it 20-0 run, I think I saw. So Neelsville and Cameron going to be playing each other for the right to go to the state tournament. So Division 5, we've got Webster still in action. Independence Gilmanton is still alive too. Oliva Strum still alive. So chance we'll probably get maybe a couple of our listening area teams in Division 5 advancing to the state tournament and such. But Brandon, our expert, will break it all down for us coming up a little bit later on here. So we'll talk some baseball too. World Baseball Classic is underway right now. Otani was a triple. If you're now paying attention this morning or watching this morning, Otani was already just a triple away from the cycle, and they were in the second inning. It's ridiculous. He hit a grand slam too. So, I mean, Otani was ready for the regular season, for crying out loud. So, but Brewers-wise, maybe some concerns now with their pitching staff, and probably a good spot that they've got some depth here. But there's concerns reportedly surrounding Quinn Priester's wrist. Something that was bothering him towards the end of last year. Apparently, this wrist discomfort is still going on. It's still present, and now there's questions about whether he's going to be on the opening day staff and such. Sounds like probably going to be seeing a specialist and such. So we'll go over the latest surrounding that, and you add in, the slow buildup of Brandon Woodruff. Those two guys maybe not ready for opening day at this point in time. So, but we'll hit that up as well, part of our game plan here this morning. So we got that on the docket. It's AJM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle. We'll do a little cream of the crop. We've got Dr. Crow for Inside the Training Room coming up next week, coming up next hour, excuse me. It was a long day yesterday. Coming up next hour. So we'll catch up with Dr. Crow and such. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll do our local sports roundup, brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center, coming up with Mr. Brandon Berg a little bit later on. So let's get things rocking and rolling here this morning. Going to try to dabble into a little bit of everything here in the next few hours. But I want to lead things off. Let's chat a little green and gold and such, not only with some of the moves that Green Bay has made in the last day or so, but also talk a little bit about Bob Harlan. And again, I feel like he's one of the more underrated, maybe underappreciated figures in Packers history that deserves a ton more credit than probably what he gets right now. So, but let's take our first break, and then we'll get the leadoff going here this morning. Stick around. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. When it comes to quality meats, you don't guess. You go right to the experts at Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. You're not just buying meat, you are buying experience. Hand-cut steaks, fresh ground beef, house-made brats and sausages, thick-cut chops, done exactly the way you like them. This is your neighborhood butcher shop where quality comes first and service still matters. Planning a cookout, stocking up for the week, maybe even thinking about the upcoming baseball season and such, or maybe just looking for that perfect steak for dinner, stop on into Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire and taste the difference that a real butcher makes. Mike's Star Market, fresh, local, and done right. Let's lead things off here this morning. The news from yesterday that former Packers president, CEO Bob Harlan passing away at the age of 89. Bob Harlan, just a refresher, was hired as the new president and CEO for the Packers in 1989. After serving with the Packers, originally was hired as an assistant general manager in 1971. Before that, he had spent a few years with the St. Louis Cardinals. And even before that was with Marquette University as the sports information director, where he had graduated college from Marquette. But was with the Packers starting in 1971, moving up a little bit in the ranks, or if you will, and being the main dude, the main guy, starting in 1989. And you want to talk about maybe one of the best decisions in Green Bay Packers history. You know, when we talk about that, we talk about coach hirings and maybe even general manager hirings or especially player, decisions, drafts, trades, signings, that sort of thing. One of the best decisions in Green Bay Packers history is the hiring of Bob Harlan. And I think a lot of maybe younger Packers fans don't necessarily know a lot about Bob Harlan. Maybe they don't know anything about Bob Harlan, or maybe just kind of take it for granted what he did. And I think it's a good, we should always be remembering what he did to, I don't think I'm being dramatic in saying this, saving the franchise potentially. A lot of his decisions and the work that he did paved the way for a lot of that success. And when we talk about the mid-90s in those Packers teams, everybody looks or thinks about, when you think about Super Bowl 31, you think about the roster. You think about Reggie White. You think about Brett Favre. You think about some of those other great role players. You think about Mike Holmgren. You think about Ron Wolf. Ron Wolf hired Mike Holmgren. Ron Wolf traded for Brett Favre. Signed Reggie White. Ron Wolf's in the Hall of Fame, too. But it all started with Bob Harlan. It had to start somewhere. It didn't, and this does not take away anything from what Mike Holmgren did, what Ron Wolf did. It was just great decision after great decision. And it first started with the decision to hire Bob Harlan as their new leader. And the trickle-down effect after that. Bob Harlan hires Ron Wolf, gives Ron Wolf all the football decisions be made by Ron Wolf. I still remember I had as a kid. It was after they won Super Bowl 31. And they came out with like a couple CDs. I think I actually still have them in storage somewhere. But they came out with a couple CDs. It was like Super Bowl highlights in there mixed with songs. Like, obviously, Bang on a Drum All Day and stuff like that. It was like a Packers album. There was two of them. And I still remember a clip in there from Ron Wolf's introductory press conference. And it's Bob Harlan talking. And the one line in there that he says, all football decisions will be made by Ron Wolf. So Harlan makes that decision to hire Ron Wolf. Ron Wolf makes the great decision to hire Mike Holmgren. Makes the decision, the gamble to trade for one Brett Favre. They get Reggie White. It all worked out in perfect harmony. They all deserve the credit for that Super Bowl 31 team, for the resurgence of this Packers squad. But I still feel like it's Bob Harlan that doesn't get included into that, let's say, foursome. It should be a fivesome. It should be the top five. But for a lot of people, they think the first people they think about is Favre and White. They're Hall of Famers. They're two of the best players of all time. So, yes, of course. I don't fault fans for thinking that. They're going to think of Ron Wolf. He's in the Hall of Fame, too. I don't fault fans for that. They're going to think of Mike Holmgren. I don't fault fans for that either. But it all started with Bob Harlan. And not only just that, I mean, that wasn't the only thing he did when he was with the Packers. So many other things that changed the course to how we kind of look at the Packers right now. I mean, you go to the early 2000s. The Lambeau Field remodeling. The funds, campaigning. And you still hear stories about Bob Harlan answering the phone and listening to fans, complaints, questions. I mean, last night I was, kind of reading a little bit more about him. And this was a little clip here. It said Harlan noted his preference to be hands-on in his approach to the job, so much so that instead of backfilling his old position, he had all department heads just report directly to him. Harlan, who had always been viewed as nice and professional, also cultivated a reputation for being approachable as president. He had no secretary and answered his own phone calls. He also corresponded with fans and Packers shareholders directly. How many bigwigs, bosses still do that to this day? They don't, right? They don't. And I still hear stories about people, writing a letter and getting something in return or making a phone call, and he called them back or he talked to them. So you hear that, the humbleness, just for a guy in his position, but to be still nice, right? Just approachable and such. But again, going back to Lambeau Field and, the renovation of it from 01 to 03, a lot of us in our, whether you're my age or, older and such, we remember what Lambeau Field used to look like. And remember when it reopened up, if you will, and just the complete change into it. And I know for some people, they probably look at pictures from the early 90s and 80s of that old stadium, like, that's what it used to look like? Yeah. And Harlan literally was on the streets asking for votes to authorize this. And the thing is, too, he never threatened to move the Packers. He didn't pull that card. Look at like what's going on with the Bears situation. Are they going to be in Indiana or not? And Harlan never threatened to move the Packers from Green Bay. He didn't do that part. Going back even a little bit earlier, the Don Hutson Center, an indoor training facility in Green Bay. Some teams still don't have that to this day. And this little nugget too, he is still the only person, Bob Harlan is still the only person in league history, this was from Adam Schefter, to hire two different general managers that won Super Bowls with different rosters. Ron Wolf, obviously, but Bob Harlan was the one who hired Ted Thompson. Ted Thompson and Mark Murphy, they are the ones that kind of, when fans think about those two, I think a lot of people just assume Mark Murphy hired Ted Thompson. No. Bob Harlan hired Ted Thompson. After the failed Mike Sherman general manager run, he brought Ted Thompson back to the organization and hired Ted. And the other part, too, in this whole thing is towards the end, even when he wasn't, the main guy in charge, he, by all accounts, by a lot of reports, was the man that kind of got the ball rolling a little bit to get Brett Favre back within the organization, the good graces. So just a legendary human being, but a legendary Packer person. When you look at all the things that he did for this franchise and things that he did for this franchise that are still prevalent to today. A lot of Packers fans have a lot to thank for Bob Harlan and the job that he did. So, man, because we still reaping the benefits. So, when you think about Packers history, I implore a lot of you, maybe more so from the younger fans, when you think about some of the most pivotal and legendary Packers people, you think about obviously Curly Lambeau, you think about Vince Lombardi. You think about some of the players, the Bart Starrs, the Ray Nitschkes, the Favres, the Rodgers, the Whites. You think about the other coaches and such. You think about Ron Wolf. Think about Bob Harlan in that same breath. Because what he did for this franchise and the amount of work and dedication and passion that he put into it, it's rare, I think, in this day and age. And for little old Green Bay, we have a lot, as Packers fans, we have a lot to thank for him for what he did. So, on that note, we got to take a quick break. We're going to have some more Packers talk. Packers starting to make some moves with the new league year set to begin next week. We'll get you updated on some of the latest coming up after these quick words. When it comes to fresh, convenient, and delicious, Hy-Vee and Eau Claire has got you covered. From fresh produce and premium meats to bakery favorites and ready-to-go meals, everything you need is under one roof. Planning some dinner tonight or maybe grabbing lunch on the run, like we do a lot as a family over there at Hy-Vee, or maybe you're stocking up for the week, they make it simple. Store that feels like your neighborhood market, just a little bit bigger. Plus, with daily and weekly deals and seasonal specials, there's always something new to discover. Hy-Vee and Eau Claire, where there is a helpful smile in every aisle. By the way, make sure you are following Hy-Vee's Facebook page because they've got deals almost every day and such, including a meat sale that starts today going through the weekend. So make sure that you follow their Facebook page for the latest info on that. Before we get to a Packers talk, just a couple people reached out on the texting line. I'm going to keep some of the comments and such, but I want to say appreciate those texts. So I was out yesterday because we had to put down our family dog of almost nearly 17 years. So I appreciate a couple of you sending some condolences over and such. I'm not going to read those on the air. I'm going to keep that for myself, so I appreciate that. And just a really, really, really tough day, and still struggling a little bit with it. Anybody who has probably had a dog or a family pet or anything for nearly 17 years, for as long as we've had, probably can understand a little bit. We've had our dog Bacardi, since my wife and I first started dating. So that kind of was the beginning of a phase of our life, and it ended yesterday a little bit. So appreciate the condolences, and appreciate everybody understand why I wasn't in yesterday and just staying with the family and such. So, but thank you to a few of you who did reach out and such. So, all right. So some Packers stuff here. Packers yesterday getting under the salary cap. It looks like just a couple $1 million, which right now that's they just had to get under it some way somehow by the start of the new league year next week. Packers reportedly restructured, and maybe not restructuring. I think it might be a little bit dramatic and such, but nonetheless, the Packers converting some of Xavier McKinney's money, his contract, converting his salary and roster bonus. So his overall cap number is going to be under $10 million. And with that move alone, the Packers are under the salary cap, it looks like, according to Spot Track. So there's going to be more moves to be made. We know that. Two of the top 5 in terms of cap hits are probably 2 players who are going to be released or take some massive pay cuts and some massive restructures. Rashawn Gary currently has the 2nd highest cap hit on this team. Elton Jenkins has the 4th highest cap hit on this team. And those are 2 players that I think everybody is just assuming. Everybody is just, they know that something's going to happen with those guys, whether it's just a straight-up release, maybe some restructuring with some incentives and such, but there's going to be more moves to be had. But at least right now, Green Bay, it looks like, again, according to Spot Track here, they are under the cap with that Xavier McKinney kind of alteration to his contract. So also from a couple days ago, Packers bringing back Chris Brooks on a 2-year deal, their 3rd running back on the depth chart. And we got to see, over the last couple of years, we've seen Chris Brooks off and on, and I felt like we got to see maybe a little bit more last year and such. But what Packers obviously really like what Chris Brooks can bring to their offense. And obviously when you think about running backs, you think about, okay, can they run the ball? How many yards can they gain? Can they be a dynamic runner and that situation and such? But what Chris Brooks does is he's a really good pass protector. He can catch the ball out of the catch the ball in the backfield, and he's got sneaky good speed. He's kind of a hybrid fullback, running back, H-back type of player. And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed if they kind of utilize him more, maybe more as an old school third down back like we saw in the days of a Tony Fisher, or name another kind of third down back. Remember, Dorsey Levens was kind of a third down back before he really elevated into a 1-2 punch with Edgar Bennett. But that's kind of how I see Chris Brooks. And I don't know if the plan is to expand his role a little bit more with this 2-year deal. It's not a 1-year extension or a 1-year deal or anything like that. I mean, he was, I believe, a restricted free agent as well. So maybe that's part of the thought is, hey, let's expand what he can do here a little bit because of maybe his versatility and such. He started his career back in 2023 with the Miami Dolphins under Mike McDaniel. And he did have – did he have a – okay, so just kind of looking at some of this. Yeah, I mean, he didn't, like, blow anybody out of the water or anything like that. But obviously the Packers really like what he could potentially bring to the table. And I think he's got sneaky good speed. And the fact that he hasn't given up a pressure in terms of protection when he's lined up in the backfield is a huge bonus. Huge bonus. So maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see a little bit of a old school version of a third down back type of play, type of scheme in the NFL or for the Packers here. So, but again, expect some more moves to be made for the Packers in the next couple days, in the next few days here. Legal tampering, free agency technically begins on Monday and such. And well, I know it's not the Packers, but it's the Bears. Bears making a couple of big moves yesterday too that will affect the NFC North. DJ Moore getting traded to the Buffalo Bills. And it looks like Trayvon Edmonds is getting or has been released as well. So Bears having to make some tough decisions, some tough moves to get under the salary cap and such. So I know Edmonds was a guy that was mentioned as maybe kind of a trade candidate. There was reports out there that he was going to be, or he wanted a trade and he wanted out and such, but looks like right now that he's been released and such. So a couple of players with the Chicago Bears on the move. And just a few minutes ago too, about 20-some minutes ago, I was one of them that I would have liked to have seen it. Tyler Biadasz is not going to be a Green Bay Packer. He did take a visit with the Bears, but he is not going to the Bears. He is signing a 3-year deal with the Chargers. So take that one off the list of maybe potentials for Green Bay. All right, we got to take a quick break, but we'll be back to wrap up the first hour coming up after these quick words. Accidents happen, but getting back on the road shouldn't be stressful. At Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, you'll find experienced technicians, quality craftsmanship, and service that you can trust. From collision repair and dent removal to full paint work and insurance coordination, they handle the details so you do not have to. They'll restore your vehicle the right way, safely, professionally, and with attention to every detail. When your vehicle needs expert care, choose a team that puts quality first. Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, bringing your vehicle back to life, one repair at a time. And Superior Auto Body are good friends there, our partners for Backyard Dreams. If you go to our website right now and scroll over to the, or click on the Fan Cave tab at sportstalk1051.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom. We want to send a kiddo to their first Brewers game, or maybe they've been to a Brewers game, but maybe they could use something positive in their life right now, and they're a big Brewers fan and such. We want to send a kiddo to Brewers versus Dodgers coming up in May. So quite the game there. So if you know of somebody, please head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and click on that Fan Cave tab. And again, scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see the icon there. And we're going to announce, we're going to pick a winner fairly quickly, so probably in the next week or so. So if you know anybody, or maybe it's your child and such, please don't hesitate to go to our website and put in your nomination. So, all right, let's. We got about 8 minutes left to the top of the hour. So coming up next hour, we're going to catch up with our doc, Dr. Austin Crow, Chuba Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for a little inside the training room. After that, we'll catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Brandon Berg. Brandon Berg's going to be joining us. We'll do our Carpet City Flooring Center local sports roundup with him. We'll talk some Brewers with him, the concern level surrounding Quinn Priester. He may not even be ready to go at the beginning of the season either. When you talk about the slow buildup for Brandon Woodruff, a couple guys that we all as Brewers fans kind of thought, it wasn't that long ago, just for our latest post-class Amir 715 Speaks poll question, we said who's going to have the most wins as a Brewer starting pitcher. It was between Priester and Woodruff as the two most popular picks, and they may not even be ready for opening day. So some concern surrounding Quinn Priester's wrist injury. But, again, maybe this is why the Brewers decided to do all those moves to acquire all of those pitchers, is to have that flexibility, have that backup in case something were to happen. So, World Baseball Classic going on. Japan picking up a win. As we mentioned, Ohtani was just on fire right away. 13-0. They only allowed one hit. So, man, just a dominating performance from Team Japan. So, but we'll talk some baseball coming up with Brandon in the next hour and such. So, all right. A little bit later on, we'll hit up some hoops chat as well. We'll talk a little Badgers as we wrap up the regular season for the Badger men's basketball team tomorrow, going up against Purdue. Marquette's going to wrap up their season too. They're taking on UConn. So then we get the conference tournament coming up next week. I can't wait for that. Cannot wait for that. Bucks are back in action too. Are you kind of like maybe just? It's done. I'll be honest. I'm kind of there right now. After that loss to the Hawks and such, I feel like the Bucs season's done with. You could sense the frustration, not only from the fans but the players themselves. I mean, you could definitely sense it from Giannis. I think it's done. I hate saying that, but I really think it's done. So, but we'll see. Well, I know there's 21 games, 20-some games left to go. They could go on this magical run and such, but I don't see it working out that way. I don't see it planning out. So, but we'll hit that up, and we'll talk a little bit about Talk a little bit about that coming up later on. We've got our AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. We'll do a little cream of the crop as well. If you want to submit your cream of the crops, you can do so by hitting us up with a quick text. We'll wrap up with Morgs. Good morning, Morgs.
Hey, how we doing, Kasper?
Good. How are you?
Did you hear there was a mom, this was like a viral thing, you probably saw, you're online a lot, that had a kid in hockey, and everyone knows hockey is expensive and you have to travel a lot.
Yeah.
And she offered her son a deal. She said that she would give him 20 grand if he quit playing.
Holy moly.
Because she had figured over the course of the seasons, like with equipment, traveling, because this was one of those travel teams that went like out of state, you know, so hotel and all of that. She figured she spent roughly that much, and he didn't take the deal.
How old was it? Do you know how old the kid was?
I think like middle school age.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. So asking that in two parts. As a parent, would you offer something like that? Obviously scale down to whatever's appropriate for your own family.
Right.
Or thinking back, is it only something that as adults you're confused by them not taking, but as a middle schooler, you yourself probably wouldn't have bid at? Because you don't really have a concept of money at that age.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everything about your life is wrapped up in what you're doing with your social group, primarily friends, then sports, and that stuff is, you know, that's front burner stuff. So do you think middle school Kasper would have taken a deal?
Probably not.
See,
and I'm kind of running into that with Hudson because I've like exaggerated, tried to bargain with him to try new foods. Like, hey, I'll give you $1,000.
Yep.
Nope, not doing it.
Nope. Because
I'm like, you're nuts, because I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah, because you know what money is.
Right.
But you have to leverage something that's on their level.
Yeah.
It's like if she would have said, you can play hockey or I'll take your phone away. Like pick one, phone or hockey. That would have probably been a more, you know, moral struggle for the kid versus just straight cash.
Yeah.
But what do you think your dollar amount would be if you're, I mean, because obviously you like to support your kids and that kind of thing, but when you do get down to brass tacks and it's one of those reality things where you're juggling weekends or flying out of state.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you're starting to wonder where you draw the line. What do you think your hard and fast?
That's a tough one.
I know. It's
That's
super tough.
Because I want him to be able to play any sport he wants to. Like, I hate pay for play and all that stuff.
Right.
But
I think most parents do.
Yeah, but man, that's a tough one.
I know. Well, and see, when Siggy was younger, kind of like Hudson's age, we would say that was the wide net. Play whatever you want all day long, figure out. But then as you get older, you should start to chisel away the stuff that you're either casual about or only doing because your friends are doing track.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of thing. Whereas other kids, they live for one or two sports and they're, you know, down the rabbit hole and that's it.
Yeah.
So now she's starting to whittle away, and softball's coming out on top at the process. But, you know, the bonus of being in smaller districts and a lot of areas in our school are allowed this luxury is you can kind of play all sports. You can be a 3-sport athlete and play those sports and get some play time in, which is nice too.
I would agree. I would agree. Good topic.
I'm just curious what the most anybody's ever offered their
I'd like
kid
to know
is
if
drop a
anybody
spot.
offered that.
Yeah, if there was an ultimatum in your own house. Or maybe you have multiple kids and like something's got to go.
Right.
So where do you start bargaining and bring it to the table?
Yeah.
Have any good. I'm not above bribery as a parent. No way.
Me neither. All right. Thanks, Margs.
Anytime.
1 hour in. We got some news updates. We'll be back after these quick words. All right, second hour, second quarter kicks off right now on this Friday morning as we wrap up another work week here. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your starts. Coming up, we'll do a local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center with our guy, Brandon Berg. I know we've got girls playoff basketball, boys playoff basketball, state hockey, wrestling, all that stuff to recap. So our expert, Brandon, will be helping us break it all down here in a little bit. We'll talk some baseball with the Brewers World Baseball Classic. We've got Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle, brought to you by AJM Automotive, Cream of the Crop, all that good stuff. So, but we kick off this hour like we normally do on Fridays, chatting with our good friend, Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for a little inside the training room. Good morning, Austin. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Don't mean to bring up Lindsey Vaughn like for the fourth straight week in a row, but she posted videos of her already rehabbing, and I don't know if she was just stretching. I mean, it looked like she was doing maybe some weight work, but I mean, already doing rehab after that severe of an injury, is that normal human being stuff that I'm watching on her Instagram?
I mean, I think she's obviously going to be pushing herself beyond what most people are. I mean, we certainly do try rehab people right away after these injuries. You do whatever they can. I mean, it's just good for people both physically and mentally. But obviously, I think she's going to do it in a way that probably stands out compared to most. But yeah, I mean, if you look at a trauma patient, and I mean, that's essentially what she is. I mean, that was a high energy injury. They come into the hospital, and one of the first things our goal is to do in orthopedics is to stabilize someone well enough that they can start getting up and moving and rehabbing. I mean, it just makes you a healthier person. So, yes, that is beyond what most are doing, but that concept is something that holds true across medicine. We're always trying to get people up and moving and going. But yeah, again, she's probably above and beyond what most are.
And to kind of feed off of that too, and I guess this is kind of more of a general question, but like after injuries or surgeries to that, or maybe even like an ACL injury and recovering from surgery, do you normally want patients to rehab early? I mean, do you want them to rest more, to recover? And I know it varies with the type of injury and surgery and such, but maybe some more of the common ones, whether it's like maybe an Achilles that we've talked quite a bit about or quite a bit too?
Yeah, so highly variable is the answer. So for ACLs, we actually, right out the gates, we generally have physical therapy start within 3 to 5 days. So they're rocking and rolling. So we have them work on gentle range of motion right away, muscle activation predominantly on the quad. That's something we really focus on. So we do not skip a beat. So those people are going. Now, it depends on the type of surgery, but weight-bearing status is variable. Sometimes we allow them to put some weight on it. Sometimes we don't. Now, something like an Achilles, though, those we do shut down for usually at least a couple weeks where it's basically in a splint and we're not having them do any weight-bearing. So those ones will sometimes sit there a little bit longer, literally and figuratively, as we allow the tissues to heal. Part of that is because Achilles injuries, the repair is right under the skin. I mean, if you feel the back of your leg, your Achilles tendon is right under the skin. So when we're doing the repair, it's right there. So we really, really need to make sure that wound heals correctly. So wound issues on ACLs, for example, are exceptionally rare. Wound issues on Achilles are not that rare. And so we're always more diligent with that. So that plays a role in it as well. So it really depends on the injury and what we're doing. Shoulders, for example. So, if you have like a labral injury, those are very common in athletes as well. The first couple weeks, we're usually having them stay in their sling and just do gentle range of motion exercises. PT won't start until about week 2 or 3. So it really depends. But on the whole, if we can, movement and use are going to be good. But we have to balance that with allowing the structures to begin healing and kind of get that whole process started.
How much of that part of the rehab process is really mental for the patient? Because, I'm thinking like, hey, I don't want to move this. I just had surgery. I just had an injury. If I move it, if I start rehab, is it going to hurt? Is it going to, am I going to have a setback and such? How much is it from a mental standpoint for that patient to maybe clear that mental hurdle?
Yeah, we have a term for that, kinesiophobia. So basically the fear of moving things. And it's real because guess what? Not only is it like a made up fear, it's real fear. I mean, because when they move, it does hurt, right? That's the challenge with a lot of orthopedic surgery. when we do things where we're drilling tunnels and we're putting screws into things, and I mean, it hurts a lot. And so then you ask the patient, hey, I know it hurts a lot, but please do this. And, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to do. Because there's also the natural, I mean, what is the point of pain? The pain is in our body as a way to kind of limit us. And so, before there were such things, orthopedic surgeons, when you got injured, the only way the body could heal is stay off of it. And so pain is basically a response to something that's injured, and it's telling your body, don't use me, please let me heal. And so we're trying to kind of go against nature in that and say, yeah, I know it hurts, but I'd like you to do it. So there's this natural fear that you have to get over. And so that's why physical therapists are so critical. I mean, we have so many really good physical therapists in the area here that really, I mean, 99% of the surgeries I could do would fail without good physical therapy. So they're such a critical part of this whole process. And so, I mean, they wear a lot of hats. I mean, they're, as the name implies, they're physical therapists, so they're actually manually working with the patients, but they're cheerleaders, they're psychologists. I mean, they do a lot of things. And we obviously wear some of those hats as well, where as you're talking to a patient, sometimes you're just giving them a pep talk, or you're trying to explain things in a way that really lets them kind of do what they need to do. So it is, to answer your question though explicitly, I mean, I think it is very difficult to get patients to push into that and through that. And so we're understanding of that. You have to kind of use kid gloves sometimes, but there are times where you have to have a heart to heart with the patient and say, look, you're falling behind where we need you to be on range of motion or strength, and it's time that we really got to lean into it. And part of that is because it's hurting and they don't want to do it. So it can be challenging, but I mean, so many people are I mean, just impress me every day with how hard they're able to push their bodies in rehab. And because no one's more motivated than the patient, right? It's their body. They're recovering from whatever injury we're talking about. So whether there's someone's trying to get back to Division I sports, whether someone's trying to get back to playing pickleball, it doesn't really matter. Whatever motivates them and gets them going, that's kind of the incentive to work hard. And so patients find that motivation. And so it's the human body and human mind are amazing things. So people can push through a lot, but there's an element of like, okay, I know it hurts, but we just got to do it.
Right. I want to go to the combine. This was from a few days ago, but Ohio State's safety Caleb Downs, we've talked a lot about with the combine and these medical checks. And apparently, according to reports, there were a couple of red flags during his medical check. One of them was a partially torn meniscus was found, but the other apparently was with his ACL, a degenerative ACL. Now, can you kind of explain what that is, and is that concerning if you were a part of an NFL team to find that in a draft prospect?
Well, I mean, to a certain degree. So, we use the term mucoid degeneration. Basically, it's where you get these kind of cystic changes within an ACL. It's probably indicative of a previous partial tear that occurred. Now, sometimes we'll see that in like older people, so like 70-year-old people that we're going to be doing a knee replacement on, for example. Sometimes the ACL just looks beat up. In a young athlete like this, that shouldn't be the case. So it implies probably at some point a partial injury. I mean, does it raise your eyebrows a little bit? I'd say a little bit, but I don't think it would be. I mean, now, of course, I guess I should say this. It depends on the extent of the degeneration. I mean, if it's like a couple little cysts in the ACL, wouldn't mind. If it looks just chewed up and there's just like one or two fibers intact, yeah, that would be a lot more concerning. So I suppose it all depends on the severity. I mean, if it's severe enough that they're talking about it, my suspicion is that it is fairly advanced. So I guess what it would boil down to, though, is, a physical exam as well. So when you test that ACL, when you pull on it with a Lachlan test, anterior drawer, or pivot shift test, we can really assess the stability of that ligament. If it feels good, I would feel fairly confident saying, hey, it may not look perfect on MRI, but it's functioning well, and that's what matters.
So that, when I read that and such, I'm glad I asked you, because I'm thinking, it was like, is it withering away? That was the impression I got reading that. Is it like disintegrating or something like that? That was almost like the image that I got from reading that.
Yeah. Presumably it was a partial injury, that there's, again, probably some fluid that gets inside the tendon, then you get these little degeneration that can occur. And so, like, sometimes it's just literally like a tiny little blip on the MRI. Other times it's more significant. And again, it's hard to say exactly what his was. There's other thing too, is I don't believe this is a reconstructed ACL. This is his native knee, I believe, native ligament, I should say. So in a ACL reconstruction, I think that would be even more concerning, because that could imply the graft's not incorporating well. But if it's a native ACL, much less concerning. If it's a reconstructed one, I think that would be even more concerning.
I want to go to baseball here with the Milwaukee Brewers. Quinn Priester, a starting pitcher for the Brewers here. And last year he was going through some wrist discomfort, they said. And now there's talk that he may not even be ready to go this year. I'll just read a little bit from Brewers.com here. But it said that Priester developed discomfort in his right wrist in late August. Medical imaging then and now has offered assurances that he is not dealing with a major structural injury. But more than 6 months later, after a restful offseason, the issue has not gone away. The precise cause is proving difficult to pinpoint, so much so that the Brewers refer to it vaguely as a right wrist issue. Priester says the part that's difficult is some throws I'll be able to feel it, some I don't. Sometimes it's difficult based on the day to understand what we're going to expect. That's some of the frustration right now. So I'm not going to ask you like, hey, what do you think is going on if they're having issues to try to figure out what it is. But I mean, is that still kind of a common thing, even with all the advances and medical technology and such? There's some injuries and there's some issues that is still hard for these doctors and orthopedic surgeons to kind of figure out or pinpoint in this case.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish every single patient that walks through my door I had a perfect answer for, and unfortunately that's just not the case. So we have a lot of different things. So we have the stories that the patients tell, so the presentation we call it, so how they describe what hurts, how it hurts. We have physical exams, we have x-rays, we have CTs, we have MRIs, and those are all fantastic tools. So I mean, at no point in human history have we had the better ability to assess and diagnose issues as they come through the door. That being said, there are people who come in and hurt, and they really hurt. This isn't some made-up thing, and you just can't figure out exactly what it is. Now, from his descriptions, it sounds like the MRI didn't show anything necessarily structurally wrong, but it does mention that there was some inflammation. So that implies either inflammation maybe around one of the tendons, so like a wrist tendonitis, which we certainly can see, although 6 months of wrist tendonitis would be really atypical, or some inflammation in the joint. Then you start asking yourself, well, what's causing irritation in the joint? Could it be a small cartilage injury? Could it be a ligament injury? Could you have a process going on like Kienbach's or something? Is some other issue going on there that we're not really seeing? The answer is, of course, from where I'm sitting, I don't know, because if their specialists don't know, I certainly wouldn't either. But that is a really challenging scenario where you have, especially a high-end athlete like this, where they're saying, look, I've done all the things you wanted me to do. I rested. We gave it the off season. Now I'm trying to throw again. And hey, it doesn't feel good. Because a lot of those processes I mentioned should burn themselves out over a window of time like that. So it does start raising some eyebrows and saying, uh-oh, this may be a red flag for something more serious going on. Even though the MRI doesn't show any structural problem, there are times people have pain and things that limit function and ability to perform, not because there's something that's radically wrong, but because it's something that is just enough to affect their ability. And again, we've talked about this numerous times. These athletes aren't trying to get back to 80%, 90%, which for a lot of people is good enough to live life and do things. They need to be literally 100% because they're trying to compete with the world's best athletes. And so for an athlete like this, anything short of 100% is probably going to be career threatening at least. And so that when you're treating athletes like this, it becomes a much more challenging scenario because the goal is to return to such a high level that any ill effect that they may have is just such a big deal. So for him, is it a red flag? Absolutely. At this point, with that kind of break and rest, it didn't come all the way back. I mean, maybe it's slowly improving and it'll continue to do such. I don't know, but my guess is they're going to repeat imaging probably more than once. And occasionally you will get a second or third MRI and it's like, aha, look, now we see it. Or maybe an arthrogram where they inject into the joint. Maybe that would be another option. I don't know if they've already done that. So there's some different tools that they have, but yeah, there's always that concern when you just don't have the smoking gun, yet the symptoms remain.
Last question for you to kind of feed off of that. You being a former, college athlete, high-level athlete too, does that kind of get your competitive drive a little bit going like, okay, I got to figure this out? Is that, that might be kind of a weird question and such, but it's like, okay, I've got to, if you run into a situation, maybe something similar to that, is that where, maybe your competitive nature comes in? It's like, all right, this is my challenge. This is something that, I really want to try to figure out here.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that like altruism of taking care of patients, right? That's what we do for a living, and it's kind of what drove us into this field, is to be able to help people. So there's always that, like, you're in it together with the patient. Now, no one is in more pain than them when they're having these issues, and so I don't try to pretend like it's, we're 100% together on it. The patient's going through a lot more than we are, but we certainly take it serious. And every patient that I take care of, whether the complaint's big or small, we try to take it seriously. And so, yeah, there is an element where you're kind of in it. And also, as when you're the team physician for teams, I mean, you can't help but feel like you are on the team and part of the team, because in a lot of ways you are. And so you have that drive to get them back out in the field. Now, there's always that balancing act, and that's not what you asked, but it does raise that issue of, like, when you have an athlete that's kind of borderline getting back, like, you can't be a fan. You can't say, hey, I want you back on the field because we need to win. You have to look at it from the lens of what's right for the athlete and this patient. And so that can sometimes create this, like, all right, look, I know we both want to be on the field on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day we're playing, but I just don't think it's right for you yet, and we just need another week and see where things go. So, and sometimes you're the one holding the patient back. They're like, look, I'm playing, and you're like, no, you're not. It's just not, it's not smart for you to be back out there. So the competitive juices flow with everybody. So yeah, it's a team effort, and everyone works together. And especially when you're talking about pro athletes, I mean, you have your athletic trainers, you have your massage therapists, you have your physical therapists, you have your orthopedic surgeons, you have your primary care doctors. I mean, there's a whole slew of people that are invested in the health of and nutritionists. I mean, these guys have a laundry list of people that are in their camp that are trying to keep them optimized, because the margins are just so small. So to keep these guys at peak performance, they are working every single angle. And so, and that's when they're healthy. And then now you throw in an injury, and boy, then now all of a sudden you got really a much more complicated scenario. But yeah, everyone works together. And when it is a complex issue like this that you haven't quite been able to pinpoint, there's no question that there's an element of, like, you want to get to the bottom of it, whatever it takes.
Right. Hey, before I let you go, I got to ask, Kyler Murray, Vikings, is that what you want to see maybe next week? What's your preference for a quarterback, or do you run it back with JJ?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we bring in Kyler, I don't think that's necessarily, hey, Kyler's taking your spot. I think competition's good. So from where I'm sitting, yes, I'd like to see first of all, his contract's going to be probably very small.
Yeah.
Just because the Cardinals have the dead hit. So to me, it'd be a great scenario. And just simply for the competition. Now, if he comes in and beats out JJ, then I guess that's what it is. That doesn't necessarily mean the end of it for JJ, but yeah, I mean, I think we need to bring someone in that's going to push him at minimum.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a crazy week next week for sure, man. So I'm excited for NFL free agency. So.
Oh, it's an exciting time.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Dr. Austin Crowe, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, appreciate the time as always, buddy. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Okay, sir?
Absolutely. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Dr. Austin Crowe, again, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. We'll take a quick break, and we'll get Brandon Berg in here coming up after these quick words. Big thanks again to Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedic Sports Medicine, for providing his expertise and insights. Well, if you missed that portion of the conversation, you can check it out on an upcoming episode of the Man Cave podcast that will be available to wherever you get your podcasts. So, have to move the mic there for one, Mr. Berg, and get you your mouse over here. People are moving stuff around, so got to get your pretty face over there. Mr. Berg, how you doing, sir?
Good. I haven't broke the screen yet, so
That's a positive.
always.
So I know we're going to do some local sports roundup coming up here a little bit later on, but definitely kind of a busy night last night with some girls hoops and such. I know boys basketball is in action as well. We had state hockey going on, so we'll plan to maybe to do that around like 7:45 or so to kind of cover all that and out. So before we get to that, I want to talk some Brewers baseball here with you. So I know World Baseball Classic's going on right now, but just to kind of piggyback, we were talking with Dr. Crow about Quinn Priester and the wrist injury and such. I mean, you hear that Priester may not be ready to go opening day. Brandon Woodruff, with them bringing him along slow, maybe now with all the pitching stuff that we've been kind of talking about, maybe you feel a little bit better that they've got all these arms because of that flexibility, but maybe it allows them to be a little bit more cautious and such. But when you hear that stuff about Priester, I mean, does it make you a little bit nervous about his availability, at least at the beginning of the year here? Because it sure sounds like they don't know what the heck is going on with his wrist injury at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the idea is you just get a bunch of guys and you just know that inevitably some stuff is going to happen at some point. And, kind of like we've been talking about, the last couple of weeks, no news is good news when it comes to spring. Well, now you're starting to get some news and it's not necessarily great, but yeah, that's why you kind of build up the coffers of the having the pitching depth because, I think last year was kind of the bright flashing example of, okay, you can have some people banged up at the start of the year, but it's definitely something you can work through. I mean, last year, I don't know. I mean, when you kind of go back and look at, just how bad last year started, losing the first 4 games. I mean, after, getting swept in New York and then losing the home opener, it kind of felt like, oh boy, but, the guy that started the home opener for him last year, Elvin Rodriguez, now he's pitching in the KBO.
Yeah.
So what we'll see, I think the team is a lot better set up this year to kind of weather that early storm and kind of obviously understand it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
But still, you're hoping that for the 2 guys who I think probably were looked at as maybe being certainly the 2 most veteran pitchers of the group.
Yeah.
Now maybe not starting the season with the big league team. Maybe he's just starting on the injured list, but yeah, it's just something you got to work through.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Yelly's hitting bombs. He made his spring training debut. Garrett Mitchell just hit a bomb and wrapped those 2 guys up in bubble wrap, I guess, at this point. But, we are just a couple weeks away from opening day, a few weeks away, a couple weeks away here. I know World Baseball Classic's going on here and such, but from all accounts, anything kind of jump out to you? I know it's still spring training. It's hard to kind of get a gauge. Pat Murphy did call out his team's effort, I guess, from that Great Britain game and that. But, I think you kind of have those moments when you get to preseason or spring training games, right? So.
Once you get going, it's always once game starts, like, okay, everyone's happy you're playing games. But then you kind of get a point where, maybe you do need a bit of a kick in the pants because things are going, and obviously it's a little bit different this year with the WBC going on and players kind of being spread out a little bit, and everyone probably trying to get going a little bit earlier. But right now, not really. I think just things are, things are progressing that you think the way they should be, and guys are starting to get the at bats, and it's a little bit different because as we talked about, I'm not sure how many actual spots are up for grabs. So it's a little bit different when, you might have a couple spots in the bullpen and maybe there's a, utility infielder's position open. But for the most part, I think we kind of know who this team is.
Right.
It's just a matter of maybe if, some of the guys we've talked about that have been really, crushing the ball in spring training, be it a Tyler Black or an Akil Baddoo or whoever, if one of those guys just kind of breaks through and maybe makes a team coming out of spring.
When you kind of see the, what was I going to go here? With these guys playing, and that with Pat Murphy's comments and such, I kind of look at it because there are a lot of Brewer starters missing because they are in the World Baseball Classic, right? The Jackson Cheerios, the Contreras, Bryce Terangs, and that. Tyler Black.
I mean, he's not a starter, but he's not there.
Right,
so.
and he was playing really well, too. So I look at it as like, if you're a younger guy, take it as an opportunity.
Right. And even for fans, this is an opportunity to maybe see a little bit more of a Jesus Madej or, Cooper Pratt or whoever, because, for the most part, I mean, for 99.9% of fans, like once the regular season starts, I mean, you're focused on the big league team. You're not watching streams of, the Biloxi Shuckers play every day or something like that. So, you hear a lot about these guys, but you don't necessarily get the chance to see them very often, and this is kind of a chance to do that.
Right. Yeah. So I think, and to hear Pat Murray, and maybe that was just kind of like a little bit of a rile up for these younger guys, like, hey, there's a chance for you to get. I think he's got a really good pulse and a really good, idea of where this team's at and how to motivate them.
Right. He knows when to push. He knows when to pull.
Right. Exactly. So, but yeah, Brewers continuing to roll right along here. I don't think, it's, position-wise, jobs-wise, or anything like that. I don't think there's nothing like really too earth-shattering at this point in time, too. So, but I think the Tyler Black one, you mentioned him, for how well he was playing, because we were just talking about last week, could he push for Jake Bauers? Does this hurt him that he's playing in the World Baseball Classic?
I don't think so, because I think if he goes over there and he plays well, I mean, you're doing so against some pretty stiff competition. So
right.
I don't think it hurts him kind of being away from the team at that point, because the team's still monitoring what he's doing, and he's still playing it, against opponents at a high level. So, it looks a little bit different, but that's going to be one of the big things here these next few weeks, is if he can kind of usurp that. And I thought I'd seen that Black was playing, was it second or third base in the WBC, which is interesting. Obviously, the Brewers in more recent times haven't had him do that, but sometimes you kind of have to, if you're the country, you're going to have guys do that, and so that's interesting. I mean, that's something where if he can handle those spots, that could go a long way, maybe even to helping and maybe having the Brewers say, okay, well, maybe we'll try this again, kind of a thing.
Right. With that too, kind of looking at where everything's at and such. Has there been a player, I know you kind of mentioned a couple of them, but has there been a player, not just in the last week, but in the spring training, that's maybe surprised you with how well they're playing? Could they make because it wasn't that long ago we were saying, okay, how many jobs are actually opened up? But now that spring training has kind of gone underway, is there a guy that's maybe pushing for a little? Is it Tyler Black?
It could be. I mean, that would probably be the one. I mean, the other guy I would say maybe is Akil Baddoo.
Okay,
just as he's come on, he's hit well. We don't know how much that Blake Perkins reserve outfield spot's up for grabs. I think last year when Pat Murphy once said he would never send him down.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty strong praise. And look, with Blake Perkins, what you're going to get, where you're going to get a strong defender, a really strong defender, switch hitter that can come up with some big hits at times, but he's there to be a reserve outfielder that's going to play defense at a high level. So if you're someone like Akil Baddoo, I mean, pretty much anybody, the way that you kind of open eyes in spring training is you hit the ball.
Yeah.
Because that's something teams are always looking for, especially out of someone in a reserve role. So, I mean, he's at the very least, I think he's kind of opened some eyes and showed, like, even if he's not with the team coming out of spring training, like maybe he's the next guy up if something happens.
What about the guy that Pat Murphy has termed, what is it? The
Quantum Leap.
The Quantum Leap, David Hamilton.
Scott Bakula. Yeah, David Hamilton. I mean, he's had a good spring training too, and he's someone that does have major league experience from Boston. He's a guy that's kind of tailor-made to play for the Brewers because he's versatile and he's really fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's someone that if he can, and you look at his offensive numbers, but I mean, they're not good. They're not good. But, if there's something that they can squeeze out of him a little bit more to the point where he's even like a league average offensive guy, like, that's as a lefty, I mean, he hits righties much better than lefties, so that's a guy where maybe it's a. I think if you're him, the best case scenario is you play well enough to the point where maybe you're taking a start or two a week away from Luis Rendifo, and that's maybe a little more of a platoon. It doesn't have to be, but like, a time or two a week. If there's a tough righty on the mound, maybe he's out there instead just because he's better against righties. You just kind of carve yourself out a role, even if it's a little role. Like a little role on a good team is still a pretty important role. So,
and then to kind of wrap up the Brewers chat here, yesterday we did see, I know Kurt Hogg called it phase 1 of the Brewers instituting their Operation ABS Challenge System rules, which apparently the Brewers have a couple of coaches where they're holding up cards to signal when or when not to challenge based off of game situation. Because, again, the ABS rules, it has to be the catcher, the pitcher, or the hitter that can challenge.
Right.
It can't come
right. Nobody
from
in
a
the
coach.
dugout. No coaches. Nobody in the dugout. It has to be someone that's out on the field.
So Brewers maybe trying to find a loophole here a little bit by holding up a card saying when that you permission to challenge.
Well, and that's
essentially.
probably part of it. I think it's just one of those things where, once you get a few months into the year, players will understand how the chain of command goes.
Yeah.
But like right now, because you're seeing players challenge all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Go back a couple days to the Cubs game. Like Gary Sanchez, I think it was like one of the first pitches of the game, and the Cubs catcher Ballesteros had a really good track record of challenging as well. Like it's almost gonna be one of those things where like you almost probably maybe have to earn the right.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it a lot more early on. Where I don't think once we get into the season, you're going to see players challenging a 1-0 count in the first inning.
Right.
Like you're going to probably save it for more important parts.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, 8th, 9th inning
Right.
potential.
Or, hey, it's, bases loaded in the third inning of a tie game, that kind of a thing. But, and yeah, you're going to probably see guys that, some guys that earn the right and some guys that don't, because when you're in that batter's box, I'm sure you're going to be like, oh, no, that wasn't a strike. And, well, sometimes you might have overestimated, the strength of your strike zone a little bit versus what it actually was. So,
and could this potentially help the players? Because I know emotions run high, like a pitcher, like, no, that was a strike, challenge it.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, we're going to protect the players from maybe, getting a little too emotional,
right, and
sort of thing.
That's going to be the big part of it, I think, is. And honestly, it's gonna be a bigger problem or a bigger thing to work through for older players.
Yeah.
A guy like a Tyler Black, for example. I mean, he's come up through the minors with this. All these younger guys have come up with this system, so they understand it.
Yeah.
Whereas an older player, well, that wasn't a strike on me. It's like, well, no, ABS says it was. Like you gotta, that's just something that, for those veterans, for a Yelich, for a Contreras, for guys that haven't had to use this, like that may be a little bit of a thing to get through. But I think the good thing for them is you have a lot of guys on this team that really understand the strike zone. You don't have a ton of free swingers.
Right.
So, guys that that understand the strike zone, that take their walk. So I think that's a little bit better than, no disrespect, but I don't know how many calls Uni Betancourt would have been able to been allowed to challenge back in the day, considering he swung at pretty much everything. So.
Right. Nice. All right, let's take a quick break, and let's do some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. Coming up after these few words. Tax season is here, so what are you going to do with that tax return? Maybe invest it in your home. Maybe you've been thinking about putting together your man cave. Whatever the case may be, you got to start from the ground up, and that's where our good friends at Carpet City Flooring Center can help you out. So if you're looking to get some new flooring done in your space, in your home, head to Wisconsin's premier flooring store, Carpet City Flooring Center, right here in Eau Claire. We're going to do some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center here in just a quick sec. I want to get to a text that Marquette sent a while ago regarding Bob Harlan. I was lucky to meet him a couple times. Perfect gentleman. One time was when he was on the Packers bus traveling the state in 07, I think. Aaron was on the tour but was not the starting quarterback yet. They stopped at Jim Carter Ford here, and I took my sons and nephews for the event. I have a picture somewhere when Mr. Harlan sat down with my guys on the curb around the flagpole and talked with them. Underrated key figure in Packers history. Would definitely agree with that. That's a cool story, and thank you for sharing that, Mark. Surveyor, I'll get to your trivia text here in just a sec because I do want to get to some local sports roundup brought to you by our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center. Brandon, where do we begin? Girls basketball?
Let's start with girls basketball. That was fresh off last night. So we had the sectional semifinal round and a lot of games with local intrigue. I guess we can start Division II with Rice Lake.
Yeah.
Picking up the 69-60 win over La Crosse Central. That was a game I was at. Yeah. Doing a nice favor for our friends down in La Crosse. And, yeah, I mean, that was a game where, Rice Lake in the first half was up by, I think, 21 at halftime. And
wow.
It was really impressive because, obviously, Eddie Schmidt and Eddie Shepley get a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. But I was really impressed with, how the rest of the team was playing. Like, they were – in that spot, they were doing exactly what you look for. Where if they were open, they were hitting shots. If otherwise, they were making good passes or playing good defense. And in the second half, Central closed it. They got that game to within, I think, 5 in the last couple minutes before Rice Lake hit their free throws and closed it out. So, but I was impressed with what I saw to Rice Lake last night. Now, kind of the matchup coming up tomorrow. I think a lot of people were kind of anticipating with Shawano. And that'll be tomorrow afternoon at Stevens Point. So that should be, honestly, probably one of the more high-profile sectional finals you're going to have because Shawano features another UW commit in Leah Nordine. So there's a definite state star power there for that matchup. Obviously, winner there goes to state. So that should be a real fun one. So Division III. We got St. Croix Central. They'll be taking on Mosinee. That's actually going to be at Eau Claire North tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So
head over to the doghouse.
We're going to have a couple games here locally tomorrow. So if you're looking to catch a game, maybe before you got a boys regional final game on deck. St. Croix Central picked up the win over Baldwin Woodville. So that was last night in Hudson where Mosinee took down previously unbeaten Wittenberg Burnham Wood. So one of those two teams will be heading to state. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. Obviously, a couple Division IV games last night that had intrigue. Colfax Cameron picking up the big win, 63-38. That game is over in Menominee, and that's a Cameron team that's really been clicking at the right time. Down the stretch, they picked up the big win over McDonald near the end of the regular season, and it's a Cameron team that had some turnover from the team last year that actually was in the sectional semis. They had lost a really tight game to McDonald there, but came back. They're playing really, really well right now, and they're going to be in Neilsville after Neilsville, shut down Eau Claire Regis.
They had. Did I see online? They started off 20-0.
Correct.
They
started the game on a 20-0 run.
Wow.
And the when I think of Neilsville, Coach Geyer does just a fantastic job over there. Every year they're right there, and they are just a defensive smother factory. When you can limit a team that is as potent as Regis to 23 points, 5 days after knocking off McDonald 47-38, defense is what they pride themselves on there, and right now for them business is good. But those two teams will be meeting tomorrow. Another 1 o'clock game. That's in Altoona, so
that should be a really good one.
It should
too.
be, kind of a fun styles clash there. So Division V. Last night, Olivas Drum stayed unbeaten, improved to 28-0, picked up the 62-38 win over Owen Withee. So now they will be facing another unbeaten Webster, who won 63-31 over Solon Springs. So someone's still going to be unbeaten and go to state. But, that game's going to be tomorrow in Somerset, and that should be a doozy. Another D5 Section 2, a second Dairyland team still alive, Independence Gilmanton. They picked up the 47-40 win against DeSoto, so they'll be in action. That's actually a night game tomorrow night in Cashton. They'll be taking on Barneveld, and Barneveld's definitely one of those I would put them in like the girls basketball royalty category because they've been good there forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big hurdle. But that Indy Gilmanton team is very good. So that should be a fun one. We get down to it. Division I, we've got Stevens Point and Green Bay Notre Dame. That'll be at DC Everest tomorrow. So that's kind of the matchup there around here. But this time next week we'll have state girls basketball will be underway.
Right. Oh, and that'll still be at the Rush
That's
Center.
That's the Rush.
Okay.
Yep, in Green Bay. So. Anyway, let's go to hockey here quick. So,
because we got state going on,
we
right?
do. We had girls. We'll start there with their semis yesterday down in Middleton, and it was Bay Area, the co-op out of De Pere, and then St. Croix Valley, the Big Rivers heavy hitters. Those two teams won, so they'll be meeting tomorrow for the state championship. While boys had Division II and had a couple of really good D2 games. Amory as the 4 seed going and knocking off Waunakee. So. They'll be there, and then Northland Pines getting a pretty much last second goal to knock off Somerset. So, we could have potentially had a couple middle border teams there. Just getting 2 out of those 4 teams to state from that same conference is a pretty darn good achievement. So, it'll be Amory and Northland Pines tomorrow, 11 a.m. for the state championship in Division II. Division I takes the stage today. You got Stevens Point; they're the 1 seed. They got De Pere, and then the other one you got Madison Edgewood taking on University School Milwaukee. So. Yeah, we are getting down to it there.
Yeah.
With the games out of Middleton. So boys basketball, we got the regional semis tonight, and then obviously a quick turnaround to the regional finals tomorrow. You got
Oh,
a lot of the D1s and 2s start tonight. Some had
some
action.
did. Some did. Just the way with a lot of the Division I sectionals actually seed out the full section, so you had fewer quarterfinal games.
Okay.
And you got Memorial on the road at Stevens Point. You got North on the road at Kaukauna. You've got Hudson. They are going to be hosting Neenah.
Yep.
Going to be one of the longer travel games that you're going to see tonight. So those really get underway. Division II. We've got a Big Rivers rematch from the regular season. River Falls taking on Rice Lake after Rice Lake earned an overtime win over Lakeland. Your Medford Raiders making the trip to New Richmond. Menominee, they'll be hosting Merrill. But it's a good time of year. And Division III, you got some teams getting going tonight. Altoona gets going tonight. They got Arcadia. Stanley Boys got Adams Friendship. GET.
Black River Falls pulling off the upset.
The 6-11 upset over Elk Mountain, and that's a tricky Black River Falls team because of they play with pace, they play with three. They take a bunch of threes, and there's times that can catch a team, and that was kind of the case against Elk Mountain Tuesday night, a very good Elk Mountain team. So. Division IV, Colfax is going to be hosting Prairie Farm Clayton. McDonald's going to take on Ladysmith. Regis and Fall Creek jump in there. Fall Creek as the 1 seed in the other half of that D4 section. They got Mondovi, while Regis is going to be taking on Bangor. Osseo Fairchild, they're the 3 seed in there. They're going to have Onalaska Luther, while the Dunn St. Croix champs Durand, they got Augusta, who knocked off Whitehall. So, and then D5, Turtle Lake, they went to state last year. They're the 1 seed. They got Solon Springs. Otherwise, you've got some other good matchups around here as well. So New Auburn making the trip up to Webster, Brewster making the trip up north to Drummond. So things pick up quickly, and this is today and tomorrow is always kind of the fun. Like to me, that's when kind of business really picks up. You got the quick turnaround, and you kind of get to that point where they're like, okay, a lot of these early round games, as you can see by the final scores, they're a little lopsided, but like you get to a point where it's like, okay, that's not really so much the case anymore, and then. We've also got state gymnastics, which gets going today. Eau Claire captured the Division I sectional title last Saturday at home, and they'll be in team action. Actually, that's going to be starting up at noon today. They're going to be, obviously looking to go in and put together a good, strong finish, and then several of those gymnasts will be back in action tomorrow. Individual competitions tomorrow. Both of them are in Wisconsin Rapids. Triple Falls, McDonald's, Peyton Grunewald also going to be in individual action down there too. So we're getting down to it to the point, and even where Monday track and field starts.
Wow!
It's the first day of practice for track on Monday. So
nice. Well, hopefully that weather continues.
Hopefully, and then we have a little bit of maybe a little bit of an indoor season as well.
Really quick from the Division III side of things, we'll start off with the UW Stouts. I know they've got gymnastics, WIAC championships going on. Stouts even got lacrosse going on. With St. Ambrose in Iowa. Women's tennis is going to be taking on St. Norbert. We got track and field, indoor track and field with at UW La Crosse for the final qualifier. NCAA final qualifiers at Waverly. There's a couple different ones over there too, but maybe the big one, we've got men's hockey taking on River Falls. That's going to be going on tomorrow for the blue gold side of things. A lot of the same stuff when it comes to track and field. UW La Crosse last chance qualifier. There's also the Wartburg final qualifiers. Tennis is going to be taking on La Crosse. Softball is going to be taking on Augsburg University tomorrow as well. And for let me just quick, where did it go here? For hockey too, for the women's team, the big one going up against River Falls. So another big hockey matchup for them too. So, and then just wanted to quick double check. Really, we've got okay, that's more so next week. But baseball, Blue Gold baseball, taking on Carleton College next week too. So, all right, that's your local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. Take a really quick break because we're approaching the top of the hour, so we'll be right back after these few words. Timed it out perfectly because there's your shot clock. So we are at halftime, peeps. 2 in, 2 more to go. We got some news updates, and we'll kick off the next hour with a little cream of the crop and then a little AJM Automotive. Pump the brakes, full throttle. We'll be right back after these quick words. All right, halftime is over with. We're on to the third quarter, third hour on this Friday morning. Don't forget, change your clocks. Brandon, don't forget to change your clock, too, because otherwise I'm going to forget as well. Lose an hour.
I'll just sleep an hour later then.
No. So, does anybody, I know, like, my aunt always had when she was working, like, a strategy, she, like, never changed it just because, like, until, like, later on. And I've heard of other people, like, changing it or not changing it or weird strategies and such. So, I don't know. Sunday's just going to go by really fast is what probably is going to happen. So, all right, we're going to do a little cream of the crop. We've got AJM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle. I do want to get to some hoops chat because, well, we're going to have conference tournament. We have some conference tournaments going on right now, but for Badgers and such, we got a big game tomorrow, and then we'll get to conference tournaments and Selection Sunday a week from this Sunday. So, which is a good reminder, go to our website, and you can pre-sign up, pre-register for our bracket challenge. Just click on that Fan Cave tab and scroll all the way down to the bottom. All right, let's kick it off. Let's do a little cream of the crop. Oh, by the way, too, are we going to do it? Prediction? First free agents?
Yeah, the first free agent during the legal tampering period that is announced as, well, this person in the 10 seconds since it opened agreed to a deal.
Yep. All right, we're going to do that. We'll do that in the 9 o'clock hour. So let's do a little cream of the crop. Oh, by the way, I'll throw this out there. Surveyor Sam's got our trivia, and we're supposed to pick which one. I'll let you two decide what question you each want. Can you name the top 10 players in the NFL and Major League Baseball with the highest career earnings, according to Spot Track? Do you want baseball?
I'll take baseball.
I'll take football. So we'll try that too. So, all right, cream of the crop time. You go first. What do you got?
I'm going to go back to something that happened fairly early yesterday morning. I'm going Taron Vavra.
I was going to bring that up, and I forgot.
Oh, we still got time to talk some WBC, but, man, being able to not only play in the WBC, but hitting a home run in the WBC, how cool is that?
Yep.
Menominee native playing for Czechia and being able to, he's playing shortstop. He's hitting in the middle of the lineup. Like, that's I didn't realize. I guess I didn't remember until I obviously started looking into it a little bit more when I chatted with him at the start of the week. But like just how much other countries have kind of adopted them as kind of like the underdog of the tournament. Like you've got they're playing over in Japan right now and they're in their pool play, and like you've got so many people over there that are just they've kind of adopted them as like, okay, yeah, we're cheering for Japan, but also we're all in on this Czechia team. So but to be able to hit a home run like that's really cool.
I was going to bring that up earlier, and, man, it was, definitely a really cool site there. I'm going to go a little personal. Cream Crop is my pup that we had to put down yesterday, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Otherwise, I'll get too choked up. So I'm going to say my pup, Bacardo, almost 17 years. So, yeah.
That's a good run.
Yeah.
That's a very good run.
Yeah. So, all right, let's do some cream of the crop brought to you by AJM Automotive here in Eau Claire. Pump the brakes, Full Throttle. The Bucks are out of the. Last week we sing some praises and such, and now
I feel like you've asked this to me every week, and I've always had a much different feeling.
Yep.
Because at first I was like, no, and then I'm like, yes, and now I'm back to no, because my goodness, how could you watch this team this last week and not think no?
Right. Yep. I'm there with you, dude.
Oh.
I'm there with you, man.
My goodness. Like,
I think that loss to Atlanta, I called it a pivotal game because, I mean, that's one of the teams you're chasing for that final spot.
That's a chance to know you're going to make up a full game, and there's
And the performance they put now, to me, it's a dagger, not necessarily, I guess, a dagger where their season's done, but it's a huge dagger to where it's like, okay, you can tell the frustration. I mean, is it? The question we threw out there was, how is it all going to work out when Giannis is in there? Is it just what they were playing in that rhythm maybe that they found? I know Bobby Portis called it fool's gold, but the rhythm that they found doesn't work with a guy like Giannis in that lineup?
Maybe it was just they were playing a little bit above their heads.
Yeah.
And then now they're not. I mean, they're, playing just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just clunky. It's not working.
Yeah.
And, yeah, at this point, I am very much out on the idea of the Bucks making the playoffs, and like I think ultimately like that's probably for the best. But still, like it's just I've always had a hard time just as a fan in general being the kind of person that's like, okay, well, you don't want them like being okay with your team losing. Like unless you're like
I'm the same way. Like,
unless like you're tracking the number one pick and there's a can't miss prospect at the top, okay.
Yeah.
But it's like
it's always awkward to cheer for your team to lose.
Yes. Like when you put so much, kind of emotional bandwidth into following these teams and doing all that stuff, like that's tough.
And I feel like there's people out there who definitely would cheer so somebody would get fired or something like that. And I'm just like, no, why?
Yeah.
Why are
and that's
you a
it.
fan?
Like, look, I'm gonna be honest. I do not believe Doc Rivers should be coaching this team beyond this year.
Right.
But but
at the same time, it's like I still want them to win. Like you want everybody to succeed because then that means your team is doing well.
Right.
So, I know a lot of us had questions about the hire when he was first brought aboard, but it's like, but you still like, okay, maybe it'll be hopeful.
Yeah, maybe it'll work. Like it's kind of one of those things. I would rather have my team be good than have me be right.
Right. I like that quote. Save that
because
quote. Put that on a shirt, dude. I think a lot of fans should have.
Well, but
that.
and all teams and all sports like that, you'll see that a lot. Like obviously, right now, as the Vikings quarterback carousel kind of moves around, you have a lot of people that would rather be right than potentially have the team be good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, pump the brakes, full throttle. If the Badgers beat Purdue on Saturday, they should be a 6 seed in the tournament, entering the conference tournament. 6 seed in the national tournament, entering the cup.
Yeah. I'll go full throttle. Like as much as terrible as that Oregon loss is, and a week later it's still bad. Like, to get to, I think they would be 21-10.
They're 21 wins now.
Okay, so
22-9.
22-9. Like with some good wins on the resume. Yeah, I could see that. Like that's, and again, they're no matter what, however this ends as far as the regular season into the conference tourney, they're going to be that team that I think you see a wide variety of when it comes to people's brackets.
Yeah.
Like, because you could see a world where they make it to the Elite Eight. You could see a world where they lose right away.
Yep.
Like, and those are the teams that there's a couple of those every year. If you nail those, it's like a couple years ago when NC State went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Like, if you had that, you probably won yourself some cash.
There was one of the brackets I was looking at, and I'm like, okay, if they get to Sweet 16, I could, like what you just said, that's an Elite Eight team then. Like, I almost feel like, their path then would have been,
right.
I could really see them in the Elite Eight.
The importance of, what's the difference between a 6 seed and a 7 seed? Well, if you win your opener in the second round, you're taking out a 3 seed instead of a 2 seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
It is. It is. Was this this was updated this morning from Lenardi. I think he actually moved Wisconsin up. Because I'm going through, I did not see them as a 7 seed, but it was, he's got them up to a 6 now.
Okay.
Taking on Texas, 6-11 matchup. Okay, Brad, now here's the thing. If Wisconsin were to win, let's use this one as the example, right? Wisconsin is to win. They would probably play the 3 seed, which is Gonzaga. I think that's a winnable game for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about that's the path to the Sweet 16, and then they would potentially be playing, according to this bracket, Illinois. But they've already beaten Illinois, so I mean, it's like, okay,
and that was in Illinois, right?
Yeah.
That was in Champaign. So once you get to, in the NCAA tournament, they try to avoid conference matchups, but you can only do that for so long. Like usually,
especially when you have a lot of teams in there.
Yeah, like if you got 10 Big Ten teams in there, like you can only do so much. Like once you get to the second weekend, I feel like all bets are off.
Yep, I would agree. Yep, I agree. No, I'm pumped for this conference tournament next week, though.
It'll be fun.
It's going to be really fun. So can't wait for it. Cannot wait for it. Pump the brakes, full throttle right now, given what we have heard and read and listened to and all that. Mizorowski is going to be the opening day starter for the Brewers at this point.
I'll go full throttle because at this point, if it's not Woodruff and it's not Priester, I would think he would be the next in line.
Right. Right. I mean, what? Yeah, you can go.
It could be Chad Patrick, I suppose.
Patrick, or yeah. I think it is missed. Probably.
I think right now, yeah.
You know, it's just and pump the brakes full throttle if there is some issues with Priester that maybe they eventually find out. Okay, we're going to shut them down for a few months or so. Should they go out and get another pitcher? Or do you think they're fine with their depth right now?
I think they would start with what they got inside. But looking back to last year when they traded for Quinn Priester pretty early on in the season, like if there's someone out there that they've kind of scouted and said, okay, this is kind of if it comes to this, let's go get this guy. I could see it, but I think they would go internal first of all, just because they've spent the time building up this kind of war chest of arms that I think they would go with.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. Pump the brakes full throttle. With all the Bears moves from yesterday and clearing cap space, they're going to get Max Crosby. Or they're trying really hard to get Max Crosby.
If it's not Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson maybe, because they got the cash.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. So, yeah. I'm going to say, I'll say full throttle on the idea that they're going to get a pass rusher of consequence.
Yeah.
It may not be Hendrickson, or it may not be Crosby, but it's going to be someone who will be a difference maker for them.
So let's just kind of say you're a general manager, maybe in that situation and such. Would you trade 2 first-rounders for Max Crosby or try to sign Trey Hendrickson?
I think I'd rather go Hendrickson. Just because I still think that draft capital is still very important to build the build-up process for them. If it was next year, maybe it's a little different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Bears are still maybe potentially on the ascent versus kind of at that point where it's like, okay, they're unquestionably a legitimate contender.
Do you where was I going to go with? Oh, I do think it's funny some of the stuff out there saying the Cowboys should trade to get Matt. I'm like, but wouldn't they just be back to where they were last year at this point? I'm like, what's, what? So, but I guess it wouldn't surprise me, whatever they do at this point. But pump the brakes full throttle. Your Vikings should go all in right now. Now that it's going to be out there. Kyler Murray, that should be priority number 1 for the Vikings this offseason.
Full throttle. Of the quarterback options, like the realistic ones, like there's none of them that I am like, slam dunk, doing a cartwheel, yes, make this happen. But to me, that makes sense on a few different levels. First of all, for a team that's clear cap space, the cost is you can't beat it. Like, whenever you think about Kyler Murray, the fact that you can get whatever you're going to get out of him for $1.3 million, like, come on, like I think he could. I think he could fit in what Kevin O'Connell wants to do. I think there's some connection kind of looking back at what he did with Drew Petzing in Arizona. He's going to come in motivated because he knows on a 1-year deal, like if he plays well, you can look at what Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins did in that same system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure he also knows, like, if he would come in there and do really good, Vikings just might keep him.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe not make that same mistake twice, sort of thing.
Right. Like, to me, if I'm Kyler Murray and all things being equal, and to me, the big equalizer here is the whole offset language thing. Because if he was just hitting a free agency as a regular free agent, okay, then you can make the case, well, the Jets can pay him more, whatever. But, like, if you understand that this is potentially your last big swing, who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings, throwing to Justin Jefferson, all that infrastructure? You can trust the Jets?
Yeah.
Are you going to trust the Dolphins? Which, it may, we don't know about that new group, but like it's a new group in the NFL. Like, who are you going to trust your immediate future with?
No, it makes sense. I did see this as a kind of like a fun signing. So take away obviously your Vikings, but Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, that's.
You pair him up with Kyle Pitts and
Atlanta's
Robinson.
another one. Yeah, and Atlanta's another team that can offer a lot as far as surroundings, as far as Kevin Stefanski.
Yep.
Like, could you see Kyler Murray kind of doing what Baker Mayfield did early on for the?
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah.
That's a sneaky one.
I mean, if you're Atlanta, you think about it, don't you?
You think about it, but it's a similar boat to where the Vikings are, because then what does that say about Michael Penix?
Right. Yeah. And I think but maybe the big difference in that though too is in something that you have mentioned. McCarthy's age compared to Penix is completely different.
Yeah. Exactly. J.J. McCarthy could sit this year, come back, start next year, and he's the same age that Michael Penix and Bo Nix were when they were drafted. He'd be 24.
Right.
Versus Michael Penix when he came out was 24.
Right.
So, yeah, you're right. That's different.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait for next week.
It's going to be a battle royal of intrigue.
Mm-hmm. I know you're not a Packers fan, but you are a very knowledgeable and level-headed person and such. But Pump the Brakes Full Throttle, Bob Harlan is one of the most underrated Packer figures in Packers history.
I mean, that's Full Throttle. I mean, when you see what he was able to do, as kind of that figurehead putting things together.
It all started with him, right?
Yeah.
It's, in the case I was kind of saying in the first hour, everybody, and rightfully so, I get it. Ron Wolf, Favre, Holmgren, White. But it all started with Bob Harlan.
Right.
Hiring Ron Wolf, and then the trickle-down effect after that. So,
Correct.
And then the renovations, and heck, building the Don Hudson Center, which a team like the Bengals haven't had for the longest time, but I think they're getting one now too. But
Yeah.
for crying out loud, that sort of stuff is, So, 100%. So, and then, just the Harlan family, for crying out loud. Kevin, Harlan.
Great announcer.
Great. In-law, Sam Decker. His wife's
a power
reporter.
family right there.
Right? No kidding. So, all right. That's your AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. We got to take a quick break. Should we try to hammer out Surveyors trivia? Now, career earnings, he said, right?
Yeah, I believe it was career.
Okay. So, all right. Quick break. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. When it comes to glass, clarity matters. At Post Glass and Mirror in Chippewa Falls, you will find expert craftsmanship and dependable service for your home, business, or vehicle. From custom shower doors and mirrors to window replacements and auto glass repair, they do it all and they do it right. Whether you're upgrading your space or fixing a crack before it spreads, Post Glass and Mirror delivers quality that you can see. Local, experienced, and trusted. Post Glass and Mirror in Chippewa Falls. Clear solutions built to last. All right. Should we give her a go here? Try to figure this thing out?
Oh.
Or do you want to wait a little bit?
We might want to wait a little bit because I haven't.
Didn't write it down. You're still looking
I've
at your
got one
turkey
name down
hand?
so far.
Your hand turkey or
My
something?
hand turkey from last week is fantastic.
How about I go and then because we're running a little behind here.
Yeah, okay.
And do that. So I'll go with, I'm doing the NFL. You're doing Major League Baseball.
That's cool.
Because you made a good point about baseball with so much deferred money. Is it like obviously earned?
I'm assuming this is money they must have already earned, not that they're on tap for.
Right. So I am gonna obviously I think mine's if it's not all quarterbacks, it's got to be a majority of quarterbacks.
Right.
With this thing. So I'm gonna go. I think Matthew Stafford. I think because I just saw this graphic, Matthew Stafford's got to be in there. Aaron Rodgers got to be in there. Kirk Cousins. That's
the legend.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
The financial legend, Kirk Cousins.
Yep. I'm going to say Brady. I know there's the whole talk, well, was he ever, but he played for a long time. He's got to be in there. So Brady's got to be in there. We'll go Dak, just because, I think if the tricky thing might be a lot more current or more recent quarterbacks are creeping up into this thing for top 10 because of the big time contracts.
Right.
So, that's 5, right? I am going to go. Screw it. I'm going to say his name. Russell Wilson. I'm going to throw it out there. I don't know, but I'm going to say Russell Wilson. I think I'm going to do all quarterbacks here too. So, would Peyton's a tough one. I'm trying to think of some quarterbacks right now. I'll go Matt Ryan. Trying to think of like maybe quarterbacks who just retired and such. So that's 7. I'm trying to keep track on my fingers. You know what? I'm going to go Jared Goff. And then I'll probably go, screw it, I'll go Peyton and Phillip Rivers just because he's popped in my head. So
yeah.
those are 10 without taking too much time. So those are the 10 I have. So we'll see. But I don't know if it's right. I don't have the answers yet from Surveyor.
Yeah.
So but all right. So yeah, you're the interesting one.
It is,
too.
and I'm up to 5. I'm just trying to
Okay. All right. See how it's
trying to scramble through my brain here, and
well, all right. On that note, do you want to take a quick break so
Yes.
we can? Okay. So we'll take a quick break here, and then we'll get to Brandon's answers for Major League Baseball, and maybe Surveyor will be able to send us his or send us the answers and such. So, all right. Quick break. We'll be right back after these quick words. Looking for affordable, reliable auto parts? Well, then you need to start with the experts who know vehicles inside and out. At ASAP Used Auto Parts and Conrad's Auto Salvage, you'll find quality, recycled parts that keep your vehicle running without breaking the bank. Engines, transmissions, body parts, hard-to-find components. If you need it, chances are they've got it. Their knowledgeable team helps you find the right part fast, saving you time and money. Whether you are a do-it-yourselfer, a repair shop, or just trying to extend the life of your ride, trust the pros at ASAP Used Auto Parts and Conrad's Auto Salvage. From salvage to service, one name that you can trust. All right. Putting Mr. Berg on the spot here now. The top 10. Top 10. MLB career earnings. I got 8 out of the 10, he said. I missed Ben Roethlisberger and Drew Brees. Peyton and Rivers were wrong. So there we go. But just
pretty good. I have a feeling you're going to do better than I did.
All right. Let's.
So do you have the list in front of you?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
And these are in these
No
are in the
order.
order of how they popped into my head.
Yep.
And I had to think about this a little bit because, as we mentioned, deferrals don't count. But also, I had to think of, I couldn't really think of like necessarily the best players right now because they haven't fully earned that money yet.
Right.
They may be 3 years into a 10-year contract. Like, I don't have Juan Soto on my list.
Right.
Because, he hasn't earned all of that money yet. Mm-hmm. He's going to, but he hasn't yet. So I had to think of some a little bit older players. So I'm all over the map on this. Zach Greinke.
Zach Greinke is, yes.
Yes.
He is 6th.
Yes.
Nice work.
Joey Votto.
No.
Okay, that one's one I wasn't sure about. Prince Fielder.
No. Okay. But it's funny you say that because he is listed as an honorable mention here, number 25 of all time.
Okay, so Albert Pujols.
Albert Pujols, yes, he's 5th. So you got the 5th and 6th.
Ryan Howard.
No.
Okay. Miguel Cabrera.
Yes, he is 3rd.
Mike Trout.
He is 8th.
Alex Rodriguez.
He is number 1.
Okay. CC Sabathia.
Wow, 10th. Yes. So there you go.
And the last one I have, and this is one I had to think of a little bit. Giancarlo Stanton.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. So you got 7, right? 7 out of the 10.
1, 2, 3, 4. I think 6.
6. Okay.
Yeah, 6.
Still.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. Okay. Now there's 3 of them I wasn't sure about, and I was
curious
curious
list
about
them?
Mark Teixeira.
Nope.
Gary Sheffield.
Nope.
Okay. Roger Clemens.
Nope.
Okay.
So the ones you missed, ironically, a couple of them are still playing.
Okay.
Verlander, number 2.
Yeah.
Scherzer, number 4.
Yep.
And then Kershaw was 7th, and Derek Jeter at number 9.
Okay, and Jeter I wasn't sure because I know he made good money, but it wasn't like he was ever like top paid. But
I think it was like longevity.
And
probably.
I was always thinking about like, because like hitters, especially like power hitters, always got paid.
Mm-hmm.
But pitchers, I should have known better. Like those guys, like those pitchers, they pitch forever.
Yeah.
So no, that's fair.
Another honorable mention: Joe Mauer was 20th on this list.
Well played, Mauer.
And then he threw in Ryan Braun. He's in the top 100.
Hey, what do you think of that? Brewers paid a guy in the top 100 all time.
82 all time. So
is Yelich in there?
I don't know. He didn't throw.
Okay.
So yeah, throw in Yelich
because he's near the end of that deal for him. But I mean,
yeah, Surveyor. I would be curious. So like going back to the NFL one, his honorable mentions are Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, 14, 15, 16, and he threw in Kenny Clark at number 100. I'd be curious. Who is the highest paid non-quarterback?
Yeah.
In career earnings, if that's on their Surveyor. So if you got time, I'd be curious who's that for the all-time non-quarterback. Would it be a receiver?
I'm thinking receiver or edge rusher.
Yeah, that's where I would go. And I feel like it would have to be a more recent one
Like
because of the contract explosions.
Right. So
I don't know if left tackle would be up there.
There's always like a Trent Williams or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
But no, that one I'd be. I'm sure I could probably, if it's on Spot Track, I could probably actually look at it right now.
Yeah.
Here, let me type it up because I already had Spot Track up for some contract. Okay, I've got the NFL one up here. Oh, okay. Didn't have to look that far actually. Number 17, Khalil Mack.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And then Trent Williams is 18.
Okay.
So Derek Carr's 19th on this list. Von Miller, and Ryan Tannehill's number 21. Another business of sports, probably Hall of Famer.
Where was Kirk Cousins on that list?
4th.
Yeah.
Let's go. So I'll look up baseball here. Career leaders, money, spot track, MLB. Let's go. Okay. So Joey Votto, you weren't that far out. He was 13.
Okay.
Robinson Cano was 11. David Price, forgot about him, was 12.
Yeah, Cano would be a good one. Yeah, the other ones I said miss. I had Prince Fielder.
And he was 25th.
Okay, and Ryan Howard.
Yep. Ryan Howard is, well, he's not top 25 in NC. Bryce Harper, by the way, is 21.
Okay.
Ryan Howard's 35.
Okay, and then the other one was Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton was 19.
Okay, so that was in the ballpark.
So we wanted to know Christian Yelich, right?
Yes.
Christian Yelich. Let's see if I can find him by scrolling. By the way, Griffey Jr. just popped up. He's 52. So just in case anybody was wondering with that. Judge is 73, but I got a feeling that might be.
They'll bop up, yeah.
Why am I not seeing Yelich's?
Maybe he's not there. What's the number?
Mookie Betts is 80. What a bargain.
Right. What's Betts at?
80.
No, I mean the money.
100 and if I round up, 151 million.
Okay.
He's like right 2 spots ahead of Braun.
Okay, so yeah, because Yelich still has 3 years left, roughly 20 to 25 million. That was around 200. Okay. No, I can see why he's
probably not in the top 100.
Yeah.
But eventually might be there.
Yeah, in a couple years because he's got 3 years left guaranteed at more than 20 million. So that's another 60 plus million. So yeah, okay.
Because the number 100 player on here is Ryan Zimmerman at 141.
Okay.
So I'll let you figure.
And the
out
extension kicked in 2020. 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jeez, man.
So
yeah, he's probably just off.
Okay. All right. So
that makes sense.
That was a good one. That's kind of interesting seeing some of these guys still listed top all time, where they're at. You know, I'm trying to find like what was the most random player on here. Strasburg's still 15. Yu Darvish is 18. Teixeira, by the way, you did have him. He was 22.
Okay.
So, yep, he was on there. Nolan Arenado was 26. Juan Soto's 28, but I got a feeling one's going to go
He's going to be climbing up here pretty quick.
Yeah, so he's...
Shohei will too, but it's going to take like 30 years.
Yeah. So, good stuff. That was a good one. So, appreciate that, Surveyor.
Yeah, it was good. That was a fun one.
That was a fun one. So, all right. With that, we'll take our final break for this third quarter. We're going to talk some hoops. We'll talk some college hoops and such as we get set for the regular season finale. Coming up for the Badgers tomorrow, taking on Purdue. Marquette's also wrapping up their regular season, and they've got UConn. So have fun with Marquette's got to win their tournament to even get into this thing. So, all right, we'll take a quick break. Back to wrap up the third quarter after these few words. College basketball season starting to wrap up its regular season. We've got Badgers taking on Purdue tomorrow. Marquette also taking on UConn. I know some conference tournaments have been going on, but for the Badgers and the Big Ten, they'll begin that next week. And there is a little bit on the line for this Badger-Purdue game, not just, maybe another signature win for Wisconsin. I think it's also big in Purdue considering they went a couple losses back
Purdue's
to
been
back.
scuffling.
And I believe the winner of this one would flip-flop spots in the conference standings because they're tied up there. So big game nonetheless for both these ball clubs. Again, I was a little surprised. Joe Lenardi did put Wisconsin up to a 6. So I would imagine if Wisconsin wins tomorrow against Purdue, that solidifies them as I don't know if they'd move up.
I don't think they would move up any more than that.
But maybe if they have a nice, decent run in the tournament, then they get the infamous 5 seed. So then it's 5-12 in that. But, yeah. But nonetheless, I don't, not to kind of keep beating a dead horse and such, I don't know how to make this Badger basketball team out. I don't know what to expect.
Right.
I don't know how to see it.
Thankfully, it sounds like there was good news on Noah Winter.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds I think that Greg Gard said that they avoided the worst possible scenario, and it sounds like he's maybe a little bit more day-to-day. Now, whether he plays tomorrow, we don't know. I mean, wouldn't surprise me if he didn't.
Right.
But, I mean, I think the idea of, well, even if nothing else, he's back for the NCAA tournament, that's the big thing. So.
Right. Do you think there is a big difference between getting a 6 or 7 seed in this tournament for Wisconsin? And I know a lot of it's going to be matchup-based, which we can't figure out.
Yeah, you can't predict.
Now,
I think so. I talked to Laura earlier about the difference between facing a 2 or a 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're facing a 2, it's a team that could have been not that far removed from being a 1.
Right.
And obviously we know who the heavy hitters are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's a really good team that right now is a 1, but they get knocked out of their conference tournament early, do they drop to a 2? Do you want to face that team?
Right.
So, yeah, and I just think there's a lot to be said for trying to end on the best possible note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that tip time tomorrow afternoon, and then we get conference tournament stuff, which, again, I think, we've kind of said it a few times already. I think you can make a case half dozen teams could win this tournament. Mm-hmm. So, Bucks-wise, I mean, my enthusiasm scale probably at the lowest it's been now. It's just, it feels like, okay, time's running out.
It's post-mountain climb for the guy on Price is Right when he goes, yodel, he goes up, and it's just, boom.
Yep. Yeah, it's really hard to find any light at the end of this tunnel right now for the Bucks. It's hard to find any positive things. They're 5 games back from that final playoff spot, which is to a team they just lost to, the Atlanta Hawks.
And there's a couple blown. I mean, there's 2 games, I believe, this week where they had double-digit leads, and they blew them.
And there's always like the one quarter where they just struggle for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And the worst, to make matters worse, too, it's like not only did they just lose to Atlanta, but then, the Hornets are there, but those 2 teams are playing really well.
Yeah.
They're playing like maybe their best basketball all season long. So not only are you 5 games back, but you're 5 games back between 2 teams that are kind of hot right now with 20-some left to go.
Yeah.
It's just, and the thing is, I know we kind of talked a little bit about, I don't want to cheer for my team to lose to improve draft spots and that, and considering,
especially because it's a lottery, like you don't know,
right? And I'm sorry, but given the history of Bucks picks too, they haven't been the greatest,
right?
Yeah, I don't know if I can really like hang my hat on that. It's like, hey, we're going to get a good draft pick, but is that going to be a good player?
Right.
Odds right now have shown us no, that's not going to be the case. So
right, and the thing with the lottery is the Bucks could end up with decent odds, but then still end up picking 12th.
Yeah.
Unless the NBA, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, wants to throw them a Dallas Mavericks favor.
That ain't happening.
No.
They got Brewers and Bucks back on the radio dials this weekend too. Well, the next Bucks game is. See, that tells you how much I've been all excited. Next Bucks game is tomorrow, so that'll be on, and then it's a doubleheader on Sunday with Bucks and Brewers games on Sports Talk 105.1. Hey, I just saw MLB Pipeline, not to switch gears here, but just a couple minutes ago. For the first time since 2016, Brewers have the #1 farm system. hang the pennant,
Hang the banner.
hang the banner.
Hang the banner. Number one farm system by a couple different outlets. So
Yeah, probably not a big surprise, right?
no, I mean, you figure they'd be up there. I mean, it's not just the top end talent; it's the depth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's other pitchers. You know, as we've talked about kind of the injuries here and stuff. Like, there's guys that throughout this year that, you know, look, this time a year ago, people hadn't really heard of Chad Patrick, and he became an important part. Like, that could be this year with obviously we saw Coleman Crow a little bit in spring training, or a Bishop Letson or someone like that, where, you know, guys that, you know, you can't always fully predict it. Like, we have ideas on who we think, okay, if Priester's down, if Woodruff's down for a little bit, like who, you know, guys might step up, but then there also might be someone that comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the fun part about baseball.
So the players they have listed in the top 100 is here we go. So it is Jesus Mate at number 3. I feel like you've mentioned him, we've mentioned him a couple times, but given all the other infielders, he kind of gets lost in the shuffle as Luis Pena.
Right, yeah.
At 26.
Yeah, I mean, he's slightly older than Mate, but still doing what he's doing. I think he's 19.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to do it at that point, like, that's still incredibly impressive.
Right. Jet Williams comes in at number 51. Cooper Pratt at number 64. Those are all 4 infielders. And then Brandon Sproat coming in at number 100.
Yep.
So.
And then, I mean, some other lists, you've seen guys like an Andrew Fisher, who's a third baseman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Would
I think
Brock Wilken be on there?
Maybe he's popped in on some, but like I mentioned, Bishop Letson as a pitcher, he's someone that's popped onto a couple.
Is Harrison not eligible for this?
I think so. I think he's got too much big league time. So,
okay.
But yeah, but Kyle Harrison, he might be a bit of a wild card in this mix because, you know, I mean, he's a guy that actually does have some big league experience, unlike some of these other guys. So he's a guy that's probably got his case strengthened a little bit for maybe making the team out of camp.
This is probably the most annoying thing on this whole list is who's number 2. It's the Dodgers. You know, because
but that's the thing, and that's the thing about the Dodgers. Like, you can, you know, yeah, they spend a ton of money, but here's the thing: they're also really smart.
Yeah,
like, it's not like they're just throwing money around just willy nilly.
They got the best of both worlds, right?
Right.
I mean,
it's the example of what happened because Andrew Friedman, who came from Tampa, it's what happens when you give smart people money.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what the Mets were hoping with David Stearns, right?
Right.
You know, he comes over from the Brewers, smart. You know,
you kind of have that small market knowledge or practicality with
maybe more on the scouting side of things and that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Hopefully no other team kind of does that with Matt Arnold. Tries to pry him away that way. What was Matt Arnold's childhood favorite team? Let's make sure.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that he makes sure.
Maybe it was the Expos. Maybe we're okay.
Yeah. Right. So, but that's the thing is like we can sit there and say the Dodgers buy this, and this, but
they're so smart.
They do a really good job with.
They develop. Develop.
Yeah, they may develop those guys for trades, but hey, whatever, right? Number 3, Pirates.
Say Pirates and Red. Well, I mean, because I know not that long ago, Yahoo did their list of, you know, most talent teams with the most talent 26 years and under, and the Brewers are number 1, but the Pirates and the Reds are both in the top 5 too.
Yeah, there was one metric. I wish I would have saved it. Twins fans, you're number 9 on this list, so there's a little positivity, I guess, on there. So it was some sort of like percentage thing. Oh, I can't remember. I don't think I saved it. They give the Pirates a better chance than the Brewers to make the playoffs this year. Is that falling? I mean, I know their number 1 prospect for the Pirates is just like he's on a tear.
No, there's some top end talent there,
and they've done a decent job this offseason, right?
Right, but there's also just a lot of projection systems that just for whatever reason underrate the Brewers. Mm-hmm. And look, remember, these are an inexact science, and it's not some guy that's sitting at a desk saying, well, I project that the Pirates will win 82 games. There's statistical projection systems based on, you know, things that are well beyond my comprehension, but, you know, there's certain systems that, they overrate certain things, they underrate certain things. And it seems like over the years, like one of the things they've kind of underrated during this run for the Brewers is the Brewers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, all right. So we got a couple minutes left to the top hour. To kick off the next hour, we'll get to some football chats as we get set for the NFL New Year. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy NFL New Year.
Happy New Year.
Legal tampering.
Yep. So we will hit that up and make our prediction.
From here on out, I'm officially referring to New Year's Eve as my legal tampering period.
I like it. We talked a little Max Crosby. Max, this is from Diana Rossini. This is this time of year right now, before the new league year. These drawing interest reports, or all it feels like the rumors start to ramp up, right? Just leading into the new year. She said Max Crosby is drawing serious interest around the league. Duh. Cowboys are closely monitoring the situation, remain very interested, while Baltimore is also a team to watch. So. Anywhere but Chicago.
Agreed.
All right. Shot clock's going to cut me off here in about 25 seconds. So get ready for some wild picks. Do you have your pick? I hope so. Okay.
I do.
All right.
You?
Yeah. Yep. So is it? No, don't give me any hints. Don't give me I don't want any hints. So who is going to be the first player announced Monday by Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport on Twitter that somehow they've agreed to a contract?
10 seconds after the legal tampering period opened.
Yep. Don't know how, but it did. So 3 quarters in, 1 more to go. We got some news updates, and we'll be right back after these few words. All right, final quarter, final hour on this week. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning, no matter if you've been listening on the radio dials, online, on the app, bunch of different ways for you to be tuning in this morning. NFL New Year begins. What's that? Oh, no, never mind. I got sidetracked there. So, NFL New Year begins next week. Legal tampering, free agency. Oh, the free agency frenzy or madness or whatever these networks are going to be calling it, 24/7 coverage because, which, I mean, come on now. Why would they have an NFL free agent frenzy on Monday when they're not supposed to have any signings? I don't get it, Brandon. It just, because they follow the rules all the time.
Right. Nobody was talking in Indy with agents of potential free agents.
So it's just such a head scratcher that,
These people are just the best in the world at what they do. They work so hard. Like,
Yep.
15 seconds after the free agent tampering period opens, you got people having deals that are announced, or they have agreed in principle.
They've agreed in principle,
They have not,
and every tweet is going to be ended with the deal was like negotiated by so-and-so because it's coming from the agents.
Yes.
That's where it's coming from. So with that, we're going to have a little fun with this.
Yeah.
And Brandon and I are going to pick one player, and it is going to be their team that they're going to sign with. But that player that is going to be first reported out on social media that they have agreed in principle to a new contract, and it will be official on Wednesday when the new league year opens. So I don't know if you kind of went with the same mindset I had. I don't think it's going to be one of the big name players out there.
Mine's definitely not.
So mine's a person you've probably heard of, but it's definitely not like going to be a top tier pick or anything like that. So I will give you the honors first.
All right.
Sir.
My first one, I don't have the contract details.
Yep.
Because I'm not like that.
Mm-hmm.
But my pick for the first announced agreement in principle, I'm going to say it's going to be former Chiefs linebacker Leo Chanel to the Raiders.
Ooh.
Little Wisconsin connection, the Grantsburg guy.
Nice.
Leo Chanel to the Raiders.
All right. Okay. I don't know why. And there's no basis to it, but I think when we threw this out as an idea last week, we both said the same player. So my pick is a running back. I don't know why, but I just had it's got to be a running back. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to be Kenneth Walker. I don't see that one happening. So I am going Rashad White.
Hey, yeah.
Going to the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
Because James Conner's not there anymore. I know Rashad White was getting rumored because he's a Kansas City native. Maybe there.
Yeah. They could use a running back.
They could
use a running back that doesn't drop the ball before the goal line.
Yep. So I'm like, I don't know why. I got to pick a running back for this, and that's who I settled on. Not a running back that's going to get like a 40-year deal. He might get a 1 or 2 year deal. And, yeah, going to go catch passes and run the ball behind Matt LaFleur's new offense and whoever their new quarterback is going to be for Arizona. So I went with White going to the Cardinals, Rashad White.
Yeah.
So now if one of us actually gets it right.
Tell you what, if one of us gets this right, I think a couple weeks when we're at VFW, the other one owes them like maybe a tasty beverage or maybe a breakfast. Who knows?
Okay. I will be on board for that. 100%. Yep, because that is well worth it. If one of us gets it right. So
tell you what, awesome. if one of us gets it both, player and team, breakfast. If it's just one,
beverage. I'm on board with that. Yep. That's a good one. I like that. So.
If we both get it,
then C-Bomb's got to buy.
Yes. Yes.
C-Bomb and Surveyor got to buy.
Yes.
just cuz. So. That's a good one. Or maybe our mutual friends Nick and Josh.
There we go. They usually come up clutch. So
yeah. So, but I'm definitely looking forward to next week. I don't know how active my team's going to be. I don't know how active your team is.
Outside of a
you
quarter,
releasing
outside of a quarter. Well, releasing players, but I would say outside of a quarterback.
Yeah. What are your feelings about the rumors they may be moving on from
Jonathan Grenard?
Yeah.
That one's a little surprising. Like, I understood Aaron Jones. I understand the 2 D tackles that they signed last year. Like, there's been kind of some talk about maybe D tackle, like pass rushing D tackles. It may be a little bit more of a nuanced thing for Brian Flores because a lot of times, I mean, this is why Harrison Phillips is so good in that role, in that spot for them, was he was a space eater. Like, he knew, like, basically his job was to free things up for other people. And when you're a guy that's used to, getting after the passer yourself, maybe that takes a little bit of a getting used to. And I think both those guys probably still got some juice left, and they were better as the year went on. But Grenard, that one surprised me a little because he's still in his prime. Like, the thing that, because at first it was like, obviously the reports came, it's like, oh, the Vikings, they'd be willing to move him. It's like, okay. I mean, you've got Andrew Van Ginkel. Dallas Turner led the team in sacks last year, coming into his 3rd year. But all things being equal, I would still kind of prefer to have the 3 if you could, just because, you generally want a stable of pass rushers.
Right.
But, he is someone that has, you go back to 2024, had an excellent year. Like, the pressures were there last year, even if the sacks weren't. And I think he's someone that's, looking for, a rightful
market value.
A rightful market value.
Yep.
Now, when, you're in the spot the Vikings are where they don't have as much money, like, that can be a little bit tougher. So, we'll see. I mean,
does that make it easier for the Vikings because of what they've gotten from Andrew Van Ginkel a little bit?
Him and maybe, but I'm still a little leery on trading a guy that's in his prime, that's still very productive.
Yep.
Like, to me, that's just one of those, like, I think there's other buttons you can push there, but, obviously that's just another potential pass rusher that's out there. So I would still be a little surprised if it happened. But, I mean, the fact that, obviously it's out there says it's a possibility.
It is. I mean, and you look at your interior linemen that your Vikings got last year, they're probably gone too,
Yes.
and such. Yep. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of different faces. Do you now I've seen some people poking fun at your former GM for this. I mean, was that all?
I don't think so. Like, again, we kind of had this conversation, I think it was last week, where, well, there are things you could fault Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah for. I also think that at this point he's kind of getting scapegoated.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me that Brian Flores, when they went on this big spending spree last year, that Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell didn't have a say in that.
Right.
That they weren't saying, yeah, we'd like to have that guy. Especially kind of the messaging going into last offseason was getting better in the trenches. And that's kind of, I mean, that's where they put the money towards. They signed Will Fries. They drafted Deshaun Jackson, Donovan Jackson. They brought in both Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. You would never be able to convince me that Flores and O'Connell weren't signing off on that.
Right.
So I do think that there's still some scapegoating going on right now because, like, that was all him. Like, all those things that didn't work out, no, that was all him. The stuff that did work out, bringing in, bringing back Eric Wilson, who had a really good year, bringing in, some of these other guys. Oh, no, that was us, though. That was us. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
That's kind of how I view it right now. And that's, now they're going to get they're going to get that chance because of that, and in some ways, like, within the last few years, the Vikings have almost operated better in free agency when they've had financial limits. Like last year, I mean, they spent a ton. They actually spent more cash on players than anybody.
Yeah.
Like, but 2 years ago, it was being a little bit more frugal in free agency, looking at maybe the second tier. That's where they signed Grenard. That's where they signed Van Ginkel. That's where they signed Blake Cashman. Like, to me, it's almost like it's better to send them to the store with like $20 instead of $100 and say, find something good for dinner, but don't go crazy.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. So, and I think honestly, kind of Green Bay's in that same spot here too. And they started to reportedly do some things yesterday. Xavier McKinney, gonna get his contract bonus. I don't want to say restructured because that's not the right word, but altered or
they just
whatever.
changed how things are
Reworked
paid out.
it. Yeah, so lowers the cap hit and that. So technically, it looks like they're under the cap, which is what these teams got to be by next Wednesday.
Before they can start spending a bunch of that money.
Yeah, which I think there's probably two more that are coming because two of the top four most expensive players in terms of cap hit for Green Bay is Rashawn Gary and Elton Jenkins. You would think those are moves that are probably going to be adjusted here rather soon in the next coming days.
Rashawn Gary had the
the Instagram post with sweaty hoodie
on the ground.
Yeah. So
what does that mean? Ooh.
Get our boy Robert Stack on it for an Unsolved Mysteries.
Dun, 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 dun.
For heaven's sakes, stop freaking out about that stuff. But I saw people like retweeting and like eye emojis, and I'm like, come on, what do we do? Sometimes, yes, people do that for the attention too.
Sure do.
They'll throw that out there, but do you think your team? Another prediction here, because then I'll throw a prediction for my team. Mm-hmm. Will they make a move next week? At least just one, signing wise.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yep, I do.
I think Green Bay's going to do one signing too. I'm going to roll with that.
I don't think you're going to have to wait very long on the quarterback thing for the Vikings,
because they're probably going to want to get their guy right away, right?
Right. And not that they've potentially had any conversations with anybody, even though obviously that's a little bit. But
I saw the ESPN simulator had Malik for Minnesota. Would you be okay with that?
I would. If I'm
now, that would be more of a long-term thing. I would.
It would. Like, to me, that is more of sorry, JJ.
Yeah.
Than Kyler Murray is.
Yep.
Because there's a world where Kyler Murray is there a year and leaves.
Yeah.
But yeah, Malik is going to get he's going to get multi-years, a decent chunk of money. I'm intrigued by that. I'm interested by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would bring up the point that Kevin O'Connell had nice things to say about Malik Willis prior to the regular season finale, but Kevin O'Connell has nice things to say about every quarterback.
Anthony Richardson.
Although I thought about this, it would be funny if the Vikings both brought in Kyler Murray and Anthony Richardson, brought in like the smallest and the biggest quarterback there is.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that'd be funny.
And then JJ's like in the middle.
Yeah,
sort of
that would just be funny for the optics of it. See them guys standing next to each other on the sidelines. But that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Like, I don't think they wait long, be it Kyler Murray, be it Kirk Cousins, whoever. Like, I don't think that's something that's going to drag on.
And I think that's a big thing too for Kyler. And I know a lot of people are connecting the dots with Minnesota because there's stuff saying he wants to go there. If let's say the Jets offer a multi-year, then he's going to have to choose, like, do I want the best situation? Maybe that'll help me for my future.
Right.
Or just go ahead and cash in right now.
Yeah, do I want – yeah, right.
That's ultimately his decision at that point.
Yep.
So
it's
worked out for some.
Yeah.
Look at Sam Darnold.
Yeah, sure.
Look at, there's other options or examples too. Mac Jones might be kind of in a similar boat.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, Mac Jones is, I think the 49ers are playing that right. Like, you say you don't want to trade him, like, and maybe you don't, but like,
even if he doesn't play,
you shouldn't be giving him away because you've got a guy that if something happens to Brock Purdy, can keep you afloat, because that's exactly what happened last season.
Even if he doesn't play another down for the 49ers, he just sits the bench, his stock will still be fairly high.
It's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, in the next
you go back, I mean, heck, even go back to Sam Darnold. He points to the year he was in San Francisco as a crucial year for his development.
Yep.
Because he got a chance to take a step back, kind of reset a little bit.
Yep.
And that's obviously led to good things for him down the line.
And I wonder how much really affected Mac Jones. I mean, we saw the down, and the Patriots went to the playoffs, but you also were the guy to replace Tom Brady for. I know there was a year gap, but still,
you never want to be the guy that replaces the guy.
Right.
You want to be the guy after the guy that replaced the guy, like Drake May.
Like Drake May. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
I mean, look, Packer fans know this, but like the succession plan from Favre to Rodgers, and then even from Rodgers to Love, like generally does not go that well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is definitely the exception, not the rule.
Mm-hmm. I'll be curious years down the road if this is still a thing for Green Bay where they draft that quarterback in the first round and sit him for multiple years just because of the Rodgers. And every general manager is going to be different. I don't know if Goody's even going to be around.
Yeah, he might not be. It might be someone else.
But it's like, is that going to be an organizational philosophy now?
Like, no matter what you believe in this organization, this is how we do it. Yes.
Oh, man. All right, we'll take a quick break. Plenty more to get to here, though, as we head into the fourth hour. We'll be right back after these quick words. Surveyor says he's in, but he wants to also be a part of our predictions.
Yeah,
so he's going to go with let me bring it up here. Malik Willis to the Cardinals. If we're doing anyone other than quarterbacks, I'll go with Hendrickson to the Colts. You got to pick one. It doesn't have to be anything other than quarterbacks. We just decided not to do quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
No.
I am taking your Malik Willis pick. That's the first free agent
Malik
to
Willis
fall
to the Cardinals?
to the Cardinals.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but all right, we'll let you play.
Yeah.
I'll let everybody play with this. I mean, come on now. So
I do feel like this is something you could open up on your Facebook group to
I probably could.
just say, what is the first announced one? The winner.
I'm like 4 likes away from getting into a nice round number. If anybody even cares about that stuff, but I don't know why it just popped up. I'm like, ooh, all right, do some work.
Maybe
Do
that's
some
a good
work.
way to get going.
Maybe. So, but no. I just saw when you changed Dr. Crow's name on it, so I was like, what is that? So,
I like to have fun with Dan. There's a system where basically the phone system, he's got a name listed for Dr. Crow and his number. And the last few weeks I've been just adding stuff in there just to see if Dan will catch it. And this week I added Dr. Crow. He just has him listed as Dr. Crow.
Yeah.
And I just add to the end of it, caw, caw, caw.
So the thing too with the new phone thing, it's like when people call in our old studio, we used to have a strobe light that would go off.
Yeah.
That'd say somebody's calling. Easily could see it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
There isn't. I have to be looking at that screen, which if you're not watching the video screen, I'm looking at the main computer. The phone computer is almost like I had to move it.
Like 9 degrees away to your left.
I tried to move it as much as possible so I could try to catch a glimpse of it in the corner of my eye. So I know people get mad because they don't think I answer phones. I can't see it. So don't get mad at me. It's just I got to be paying attention to it. But I've got 4 computer screens in front of me right now.
You need to wire it through the lights in here so so it's like a rave.
Yeah.
It's like someone's going
that would be cool, dude. Yeah. Or that's a good
Or you
idea.
just is there a way to make it work so just like a little tiny disco ball drop and start spinning?
I'm sure somebody could,
You can
bring
play a
that
little-
up. Yeah.
Do a little dance.
That would be a good one. Or what's just somebody blaring answers the phone. Was that from Seinfeld? Yeah, Jerry's uncle. Somebody answer the phone. Like, yeah.
Oh, Uncle Leo?
episode. Uncle Leo, yeah. So don't get if I don't answer, it's literally because I'm probably looking at this screen and there's nothing catching my eye that somebody's calling because we don't have a strobe light anymore. So that's the way the cookie crumbles, as Jim Carrey would like to say. So, all right, World Baseball Classic. Earlier this week we were kind of talking a little bit about the World Baseball Classic, and I don't know if it's just me because baseball's getting closer or if it's off the heels of the Olympics, but I'm like really excited for this.
I am too. Obviously I'm a baseball guy. But
Yeah.
Like coming off the Olympics, I just feel like that, obviously that patriotism for your country in sporting
the
events
hockey
thing is
teams.
still flying high. So
Yeah.
and this came at a good time.
Mhm.
And then obviously I mentioned earlier we got the local connection with Terran Vavra playing for Czechia, so
Yep.
that's fun too. And it's just and there's a fair amount of Brewers playing too,
There is.
including with the U.S., which is fun. But,
Right. Yep. Yeah. No. There is definitely that too. So.
Games have gotten underway. I think the USA plays tonight on Fox. If you want to watch.
And there's even a couple of Express alums too that are playing in it too. I know like Griffin Jacks.
Yeah, and
for
I believe later
example.
tonight, Czechia is playing their third game. I believe it's 9:00 tonight.
I did have.
I'll have to double check. And then they have a couple days off, and then they end by playing Japan, and that's like I think Tuesday.
Yeah, they do. So I've got the schedule. Yeah, they play 9:00 tonight.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then, so that was. But yeah, they're playing that. There's a couple of the different pools. That one's in Japan, which playing in the Tokyo Dome's got to be pretty cool too. That's a historic, sports venue.
Yep.
And then being able to, there's obviously a couple in the U.S. and then there's one I think in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
The other one, so that's just really cool.
Let me ask you a question that C-Bomb had thrown out earlier this week when we were talking about the World Baseball Classic. let's say the Team USA advances and does well, but these pitchers are kind of, only allowed to do what Scooble's only allowed to pitch like a couple games or one game or whatever it is, and he's not. If they make the championship, he can't pitch in it, but he still wants to go. Does that change? Like, are they allowed to add more players?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I mean, does that take? What if they get to the championship and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Paul Skeens can't pitch, Tariq Skubal can't pitch, these guys can't pitch, so it's a bullpen game.
It's a good question.
Does it take away a little bit of that excitement? Like,
honestly, a little bit.
Let's say it's Japan with Ohtani and all those guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ohtani's not pitching. Like, they're not. Japan's not throwing out the same lineup. They're the same pitching lineup they won with in 2023. Like Roki Sasaki, I don't think is pitching.
Like, we're not going to see the Ohtani versus Trout matchup again. Was that 2023?
Yeah, not on the mound.
Yeah.
No, because he's not pitching. He's only hitting. Which, boy, did he hit this morning.
Yeah. What, he was a triple away from the cycle in the second inning?
Yeah. Yeah.
With a grand slam. It wasn't just even, it was a grand slam home run, too. I'm like, oh, my gosh. What a stud. But, no.
What a dude.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of, does that take away a little?
Honestly, it does a little bit.
I guess but let it play out.
But yeah. Exactly. We'll see how it develops before we kind of decide if we're going to get mad about it, I guess. But, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but did you see ESPN's top 100 players, how they ranked them for baseball?
I skimmed it.
Not really any major
Not big surprises. I mean, Ohtani
right?
was number one. Soccer.
It is kind of weird to see not a Brewers pitcher for once in there.
Yeah, it was the hitters.
It was Contreras and Chirio and Terang.
Yes.
Willie Adames, former Brewer, was on there. Former Peralta or former Brewer Peralta.
I think Freddie is still a Peralta.
Yeah, so
he may be a very rich Peralta coming up here pretty quick.
But I mean, usually I feel like we get a Brewer starter on there for the last few years. But
makes sense.
Miz, I think, has a chance to be.
Yeah,
up
right.
there.
Like if he has another year like last year, if he has another year, he'll be in there.
Yep, I agree. All right, tell you what. We'll take a quick break. Speaking of predictions, Brandon, ESPN's got a prediction for every NFL team, what they're going to do in free agency. So don't look it up. I want to read it for you so you get.
Did this just get posted like this morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody can hear you, by the way.
Did this just get posted this morning?
Yes, it did. So, all right, we'll take a quick break and go through that. Coming up after these quick words. All right, continuing a little chat as we get set for the new league year and the NFL season. What are you doing? Thank you. I just got your picture text on the texting line. You so-and-so.
What is wrong with texting the text line a picture of Robert Stack?
I really want to know. Robert Stack's been on your mind for the last few weeks now.
We've been chatting a lot of unsolved mysteries as off air, and even some on air.
Yeah.
You need just a big picture of him in the back behind you.
I probably should. Still want to get a trench coat just to wear and be like him. So
just hang out in the background, see if people.
Yep. Maybe we'll do that in October. Just kind of random places and such. So NFL Nation on ESPN made some of their predictions for each team. For Minnesota, Kevin Seifert, the writer for the Vikings, said biggest need one way or another. The Vikings seem almost certain to have a new starting center. Not going to read everything on there. Free agent most likely on the move. It sounds like, it says the Vikings have loved watching the development of receiver Jalen Naylor, a 6th-round pick in 2022, but they're already paying Justin Jefferson, and they want to budget enough at that position to retain Jordan Addison. So Naylor, as he said on there. What do you expect to happen? They'll acquire a veteran quarterback. So that's kind of, the only question is what you were kind of saying is whether that player will replace JJ as the starter, compete with JJ for the job, or serve as a robust backup. All three options are possibilities, which, I kind of said the same thing. So Green Bay, Rob DeMasi, our good friend, was the writer for this one. He said that biggest need is corner. Free agent most likely on the move. Not very hard. Malik Willis. So, and then what do you expect to happen? Help the defensive line. Micah Parsons won't be ready for the start of the regular season. Rashawn Gary could be a salary cap cut. And Lucas Van Ness hasn't been productive enough. And that's just the edge position. They also need reinforcements on the inside at defensive tackle. So, I can't argue with any of that either.
No,
so
that's all.
So I know we kind of already did our predictions, but if there was the first big free agent, if you had to do one prediction, is it Malik? Is it Kyler?
Yeah, that was one that popped in my head. Like, to me, that's a big domino to fall.
I might go Alec Pierce.
If you're a receiver in free agency, you're going to get paid. That's part of the reason why, obviously the Vikings don't expect Jalen Naylor to come back. Like, I mean, he could be getting $10+ million a year. Yeah. And Alec Pierce could be getting even more than that. I mean, well more than that. But, like, we've seen the last several years, like, if you're one of the best receivers in free agency, you will get a lot of money because not a lot of receivers reach free agency.
I'd probably go him or Linderbaum.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting, too.
I feel like it's one of those, like the first big free agent.
Yeah, because that's a market-setting contract at center.
Yep.
And by the way, it's kind of dumb that the NFL just has the franchise tag or the 5th-year option for just offensive line. Or I think it's just a 5th-year option because he's for just offensive lineman. Like, it's not like tackle, guard, center.
Oh, yeah, they don't break it down that way.
They don't break it down.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I'd be willing to bet that the Ravens probably would have picked up the 5th-year option or even franchised that 1 year for what the average, was it top 5, whatever it is.
For center.
For center versus when you're factoring in guards and tackles.
Yeah.
Then suddenly that's where
that's a good point. Squirrely. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. I guess I didn't. Yeah, that's a really good point because center would be cheaper.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I think teams are starting to see more of the importance of it, but it's still going to lag behind the pay for guards and tackles.
Especially, right tackles have really jumped up over the years.
Right,
because
there was that. There was a period of time where the thought was like, well, you got to be the blindside blocker. It's like, well, you still got good rushers on the other side too. Like you can't.
And I think other teams started moving their best rushers to that side too.
Yeah, you can't just have some schlub playing right tackle and have it work out.
Right. Yep. No, I completely agree with you again. So, but yeah, I would expect we're probably going to get more of these. One other note too. It's our public service announcement for this time of year. Watch fake accounts.
Yes.
Watch fake social media accounts. This
Go
is,
with people you trust.
Yep. Just
not Andern Schefter.
I've been guilty of it. I've been caught. I've been fooled, I should say.
Yeah. Harder than ever to tell, but just
double check.
Do your background. Do your homework.
Double check it. And I say that as somebody who gets texted a lot from people saying, "Why'd they do this? Did you see this?" It's not true. Just stop. So don't do it. But it is that time of year. Although I think it's maybe gotten a little bit better. It used to be just way out of control sort of thing. And I know a lot for me too. I'm doing this live and just kind of reading that stuff on there. So
yeah.
I love, speaking of Twitter, I'm on there right now. I still call it Twitter. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, apologize.
Football's Greatest Moments Twitter account. This is when the Pro Bowl was awesome. Tweeted a picture of the Pro Bowl defensive line for the NFC. I don't know what year this is, but we could probably come up with a good gauge. Your ends were Reggie White and Michael Strahan. Your interior defensive linemen were Warren Sapp and John Randall.
Like later 90s?
Yeah.
First of all, obviously the amount of talent there. The amount of trash talking that's going on with that quartet is crazy.
Yeah. Can you imagine going up against that? I don't care if it's the Pro Bowl. I'd still get
right. Someone's getting single blocked in that scenario.
Yeah. Which I put up a poll question the other day. Which scenario you have to choose one, and essentially it's probably going to be what's going to be the least scary and potentially less painful. Stepping into the batter's box against Randy Johnson. He may throw at your head. He might throw behind you. He might kill a bird.
Yeah.
You don't know. Or you're a running back, and let's say you got to go through the 85 Bears with Refrigerator Perry and those guys and Mike Singletary back there. I feel like in that scenario, it's like the Little Giant scene when they hand it off to the kid. He just runs in circles.
Around, yeah, like
blow the whistle.
Yeah, could you just get the handoff and go down? Because you're not going to go anywhere,
right?
So maybe I would pick that just for that reason.
Yeah. Do the Favre slide.
Yeah, I would do. Yeah, I would pretend everyone coming at me was Michael Strahan and just. But
the Randy Johnson one scares me because I don't know, and it's all up in the air. You could.
I do feel like Randy would, like, within reason, throw you a little chin music though. Just to rally, to quote Dale Earnhardt, just to rally your cage a little bit.
Yeah, that should have been the other one. Going bumper to bumper with Dale Earnhardt. I should have put that one on there too. That might have been my pick. Going 200 miles an hour, bumper to bumper. No, thank you. That takes. I think people. I'm not a NASCAR fan, but I think too many people discredit that because they're like, "Hey, just drive a car. Go drive 200 miles an hour, bumper to bumper, and turns and all that stuff."
It's very. I would say it's very mentally taxing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even these days, drivers have gotten more physically. Like, look, you go back 30 years, and there's the infamous video of Dick Trickle during a caution flag smoking a cigarette in his car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, drivers are much more. They have more like athletic regimens now than they did back then.
Speaking of which, if I didn't obviously have the issue from yesterday, my cream of the crop was going to be Tyler Reddick for 3 wins in a row.
Right.
I mean, that's
never happened.
Never happened.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is. Like, yeah, it said it's only even to get the first 2 was only like 5 or 6, including Wisconsin native Matt Kenseth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it don't happen.
Yeah.
So
I mean, now it's like on watch for 4.
And I'd seen the joke being made, but it's not really a joke. Fox is talking to Michael Jordan more than NBC did. They actually were the ones that were hyping up that interview, that special series, which turned out was just one clipped interview.
Yep.
But yeah, they're getting their mileage out of being able to chat with Michael Jordan and doing it in relevant situations. Not like they're just talking to him just because of Michael Jordan. Like, those guys winning races. Like, right now, 2 of his 3 cars are in the top 2 in points. Obviously, Tyler Reddick's number 1 and Bubba Wallace is number 2.
Yeah.
Like, that's very notable.
I mean, are we going to be at the point where Michael Jordan's going to be like Joe Gibbs, where his second, third.
Like his other thing he's doing?
Yeah.
And it was funny because, listening to the interview after Saturday, he's kind of like, or Sunday, he's like, they're talking to him about the team. So he's like, because he owns it with Denny Hamlin, another driver. He's like, well, Denny's the brains. I'm just the guy with the money.
I appreciate the honesty.
I appreciate the honesty, but I mean, come on, those guys on that team all wanted a little more because it's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the first athlete that's ever owned. Like, you go back to the early 2000s, and there were a lot of athletes that were getting involved. Dan Marino, Brett Favre was involved with then the Busch Series, a second tier team. Dan Marino, Randy Moss owned the Truck Series team for a little bit. Like, when NASCAR was at its absolute peak popularity, that was something people got involved with.
Yeah.
I think a little bit later on, Troy Aikman got involved.
Do you think this is actually maybe good for NASCAR that Michael Jordan
I
is?
think so.
Yeah.
And it's not just that Michael Jordan's involved, but I think Michael Jordan being involved with a team that's being successful. Because the team the last few years has had some success, but it wasn't like right now. We're Tyler Reddick at this right now, and this changes obviously, but he's the talk of the town.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see that, and look, Michael Jordan is one of the most popular athletes of all time.
Yep.
This is someone right from our era. This is barking up our tree here.
Yep.
And to see him involved with something like this, NASCAR's got to just be eating it up.
Right.
They were, I'm sure, when he first came in, and now that he's having success, obviously they're not cheering for him. They're not doing things to help him because, look at the first few years. It wasn't like this always.
I'd be curious.
But it's one of the, let's put it this way. I learned a lesson with my job when it came to teams and stuff I cover from a boss of mine, someone who I've, to this day hold in super high regard. He always said, you're not cheering for teams. I'm not going to events and cheering for teams. He goes, but it's okay to feel good for them when good things happen.
Yeah.
And that really kind of helped me put perspective on it. And I kind of honestly, that's probably how NASCAR feels right now. It's good to feel good that someone that's very prominent involved in their sport is having success.
And I'd be curious if there is any kind of this effect. Not everybody, I don't think, but would there be any, how do I want to phrase this? Would there be any, if you're a diehard Jordan fan and it's okay, I'm going to start to watch NASCAR a little bit because Jordan's involved. Some people do, right? Some people do, but not everybody.
Right.
So I don't know. I was just.
Yeah, you don't know. And if nothing else, even just brand awareness, which is something that NASCAR really needs, right now. One of the most popular people is an owner, because right now just you don't really have that with a driver.
Right. 20
years ago that wasn't necessary.
Right.
Because you had all these drivers that were larger than life.
Yep.
And then I'm not, the drivers now are good. They're good drivers and stuff. It's just that they don't have that larger than life personality, and you need that. That's what makes so many of these athletes that are really, really good at what they do that next level. It's not just, I'm a good athlete. It's all of these people we see, and the extra oomph that they bring with who they are.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. All right, we got to take our final break, and then we'll start to wrap up things before we head off to the weekend. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Got about 7 minutes left to the top of the hour, so let's do some picks, shall we? Let's start off. Let's do a little NBA games. Just gonna go to one for tomorrow. The Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Utah Jazz in Milwaukee. You'd think the Bucks, but are you willing?
I'm gonna go with the Jazz.
Yeah, I'll go Bucks, but
you don't feel good about it.
I'm not feeling good about it at all. So let's do college basketball as we start to wrap up. We got some tournament games and such, but start to wrap up the regular season. Will the undefeated season continue for Miami of Ohio as they take on Ohio Bobcats? Ooh. That whole talk about whether they defeat, whether they that come on, Bruce Pearl. Really? Just stop.
Really wants to get his kids' team in the tourney.
He probably, yeah. But it's like, dude, you were also a coach at UW Milwaukee, so you kind of put yourself in note. If UW Milwaukee was having that season, would you be saying the same thing? No, you wouldn't be saying the same thing.
I will take Miami, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Redhawks, Miami of Ohio. Also home of
Ben Roethlisberger.
And Ben Roethlisberger is the good one, or probably the most
notable one,
famous one. There's one more. I'm just double checking to make sure I got it right.
I've got one in my head, but I got to. Yep. Yeah, I think I know it.
Yeah, I know. It's who I thought.
Wally Zerbiak.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nice job. So it was just his birthday, I think. Too.
It was pretty recent. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Let's.
Wally.
What else we got on? Do I have the wrong window up? Nope, I got it right. Okay. I got too many windows open right now, dude. So.
You do. You can't even see somebody's calling right now. I got you.
I really hate you. Let's do, Houston at Oklahoma State.
I'm going to go Houston.
Virginia Tech at Virginia.
Ooh. I'm going to go with Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. Arkansas at Missouri.
I'm going to go Arkansas.
Me too. I was like, TBD versus TBD. What are we doing here?
I'm going to go TBD.
Well, it's obviously a conference tournament going on. So, number 4, UConn taking on Marquette.
Yeah.
I'm going to go UConn. Sorry. Arizona State, Iowa State.
Hurley's coach for his job.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he gets another one.
All right.
I'm going to go Arizona State.
I'm going to go with the Cyclones. How about this one? Let's do Louisville at Miami. Miami cracking the top 25 now, too.
Miami.
I'm going to go Miami. And a battle of 24 versus 23, Vanderbilt versus Tennessee.
It's a bit of a rivalry in there. I'm going to go Vanderbilt.
I'll go Tennessee. I was thinking about Vanderbilt, but I'll go Tennessee. Florida, Kentucky.
Florida.
I'm going to go Florida. Let's do, this could be a big game in terms of if they squeak in or not, Indiana and Ohio State.
I'm going to Ohio State.
It's at Ohio State, so I'll give them the advantage over there. North Carolina at Duke.
Ooh.
And I believe North Carolina won earlier in the season.
There was I'm gonna go Duke though.
I'm going Duke too. So we just mentioned that team. Auburn at number 16, Alabama. Going to Alabama. Another potential game where it could factor in UCLA at USC.
Yeah. I'm going to go USC, and then I want to see Mick Cronin in the post-game press conference.
Oh, that guy. The fall of BYU right now.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Not even in the top 25, and it's not getting any easier. They just lost to Cincinnati 90-68, and now they got number 10 Texas Tech.
Well, it's not getting any better for them. I'm going to go Texas Tech.
Same, Texas Tech. So, and then finally, Wisconsin at Purdue.
I'm going to go Purdue. If they hadn't lost as many games as they have recently, I might have went Wisconsin. I just don't think, especially at Purdue, I just don't think they dropped this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same mindset as you.
I've seen them losing these games, they're like, no, stop losing.
Yep.
You're supposed to lose Saturday.
Same way as you, dude. Same way. Let's do Michigan State at Michigan. That's on Sunday.
Ooh, Michigan. Michigan's good.
I'll go Michigan. And then one more, just because it could be a big Iowa at Nebraska.
Give me Nebraska ball.
Yeah, I'll go Nebraska too. So, all right, and then we're off to conference tournaments.
And obviously, like the Big Ten women's tourney this week, and I understand why they do it because they kind of they can't run them both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always weird to me when a conference tournament will get done like a week before the tourney starts.
Yeah. So some of the I don't know if minor ones or lower level ones are already done and such. Like
they're underway, but
yeah. So, all right, those are your picks for this weekend. So we only got about a minute left. Are you going to be watching any high school hoops?
Yeah.
Any high school action going on
tonight? Tonight I will be in Stanley. Stanley Boyd Adams Friendship boys basketball D4 or D3. Sorry, regional semifinal tomorrow, and obviously based on tonight, we'll see what I might be doing tomorrow night.
Yeah. So best of luck to all the boys teams. Girls teams will be punching their tickets to states after tomorrow night.
Yep, we got gymnastics, Eau Claire. Yep. Down there, the team competition at state in Wisconsin Rapids starting a little bit later today.
Yep. And then I know we've got the state championships for hockey going on too. So best of luck to all the teams that are left.
We're in it. Mm-hmm. We're right there. And then spring sports start next week with track and field getting going.
Wow, that's unreal. But hey, weather's kind of feeling like it though. Hopefully it stays that way. So, all right, shot clock cutting us off. Yeah.
I scared you by crossing my fingers.
You did. So have a good rest of your weekends. We'll be back at it Monday morning, 6 a.m., and we'll chat with you all then.